We are live. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to ASV Collectibles. Hope you're having a great Saturday. It's a little later for some people than others. I have an amazing panel here today. I do have a special guest as well. We'll go through the panel and see how everybody's doing today. Live unboxing shenanigans. We always got to do the shenanigans.
You mean shenanigans?
Oh. That's right, shenanigans. Always going to have shenanigans here. And we'll start off with our good friend Marcos. Marcos, thanks for joining. Thanks for being the admin. Yeah, looks like he's kind of fell asleep there. There he is. And then we got our legend Lane in the house. Thank you, Lane, for tuning in, man. It's been a while. Then we have our good friend and the ultimate sculptor, Roger from So Much 3D. You know, over 2 decades. The guy is the best in sculpting. You'll see pretty soon here next month. And then we have our special guest, Jeffrey Davila. Jeffrey's very, very, very professional with this paint, so we'll talk a little bit more with him. And this unboxing, man, I'm super excited. I needed an X-Force Storm, so I picked this one up. I got really lucky on it. I'll do the unboxing, and then we're just going to have a freaking good time. But first, I want to ask Jeffrey. Jeffrey, thank you again for coming in. Tell the panel, tell everybody that's on stream right now when you start collecting and when you started, like, pretty much in the whole art and painting.
Well, art and painting goes back ever since I was a kid. I wound up graduating from school, visual arts, high school of art and design. I've been to all the academic schools in Manhattan, but I stopped doing my art for years. I was an art director for around 8 years. I did advertising and marketing. And I never went back to my roots with art until I saw this great statue, amazing Spider-Man sideshow. And I loved it. And I started getting a little bit more familiar with the groups, but I really wasn't. I wound up collecting an XM piece, the Black Panther, and I just repainted the vines. That's it. I hated the way the vines looked on it, and I repainted it. And when I posted it in the statue group, a guy approached me, who I won't name his name because he's not a very big figure at this point. He said, "You should get into customs," and I had no idea what that was. I said, "What's customs?" And he explained it to me, and I just started checking out kits, you know, doing repaints, learning on the fly. So I started really painting in 2020. But my background is in the arts, regardless. I just started getting really excited about it. And little by little, as you know, my stuff is getting a little bit more notoriety. And it's been learning on the fly, but it's been a lot of fun. The community is great. And I'm happy to be here, man.
And so when we look at, and I'm just going to say this real quick for those that want to see Jeffrey's work, check out the link in the description. ASV Collectibles on there. For those that need to message me or want to check out our page and sub to ASV on YouTube or Facebook, check out Jeffrey's Artist Station. It's on there. And also So Much 3D. Rogers, take a look at his sculpting work. These guys are just like the most amazing thing you've seen on Artist Station. It's like really, really good work. And I'm not just being biased here. I mean, you could tell. When you look at like the paint jobs of Bowen and nowadays, it's just such a progressive positivity when it comes to the paint. Like, it seems like every so often the paint gets better and better and better, and it's due to artists like Jeffrey, right? Little by little learning, figuring out other details. I know, Roger, when we did that Parasite unboxing, you mentioned, you know, it should have had a little more pink, a little more highlights, some more depth to it, things like that. So when you're an artist, you visually look at these things and you can tell, it's like, oh, you know, this would look better. That would look, let's try this. Let's dabble with this. And then next, you know, it's not going to be perfect, but you work your way to perfection. And that's why we have grails nowadays. You know, you see certain pieces. I seen a grail. People kept asking, it was an Omega Red. Like, the paint application on that Omega was phenomenal.
I actually I used to own that piece, and it's probably the first piece that I didn't open up and go, I need to repaint it right now. Or add something to it. There was absolutely nothing that I had to add to that piece, which is nice.
Which is very rare. So the paint job came out very great. The master painter for that was very good. And I look forward to seeing more work from you, Jeffrey. So anytime you want to come on, you want to showcase some of your stuff, you're more than welcome to. That's what we're here for. So this box came in. It's brand new. I have not opened it. It came in a couple weeks ago, but I've been traveling a lot for work, so I haven't had the time. So this was the perfect occasion of doing it. But I do want to give a shout out to my boy Michael Reyes, Juan Ortega's here, Aiden's on the line, Gabriel, thanks for joining. Half Dead, thanks for joining. Cypher, always welcome. Thanks for showing up, Cypher. And we'll see who else comes in. So I'll let the panel talk. Marcos, you can go ahead and take over. Let's chat a little bit about last night. We were on Godlike. I was on Godlike last night watching the show with you guys, and I think Prime One outdid it, man. I really liked this last showcase they did. Prey, I'm SNK, big fan of SNK, Prey, Resident Evil 4, God of War. Man, they threw out some bangers. Alien vs. Predator, I don't collect any of those, but I know a lot of friends that do, and they were super psyched about it. So let's go ahead and get to it. Let me shut the hell up. I'm going to grab my knife, start opening this box, and you guys have fun.
Yeah, man. So we'll just start out, man. If you guys watch the show, if you didn't, it's fine. But for the people who have, and especially in the chat, let us know what your favorite pieces were. I see Cypher already said, "What a show! My wallet's fucked." I think mine is relative.
Well, you already discussed how you were dead duck walking, pretty much already. Not including just from part one, like which we didn't see a follow up on, but that like Berserk. Bust that thing. That's the thing. I think we were kind of having selective memory because we were deer in headlights glowing 10 times big at all the stuff we saw. It's like, let's not forget some of the big pieces we're already getting discussed and everything as it is. So, I mean, I think especially for Berserk, even if you're thinking of getting that bust, there were some pieces shown which could make really great companion pieces and stuff like Zod versus Guts or something like that. You could have that big thing in the middle if you had like a table basically. You could have that in the middle, and you could like literally have Guts and Zod maybe on the other opposite ends, facing off against each other.
I actually love that Berserk. I love how they did companion pieces for it. I think it's amazing. They did a great job with that.
Yeah, and I forget the dragon guy, the apostle, the knight.
That apostle's epic. I don't know where anybody would put that thing.
Yeah. Well, actually, the one that has me worried is that Aaron, like I forget, is that's his Titan? Was that him in Titan?
It's like the last
Titan form
arc, basically. It's like
the rumbling. Yeah, I couldn't remember the name of what that form was for him, but I remember seeing. I think, what if they did something like that in one of our chats or something, and seeing they're doing a huge diorama of that thing with all the rumbling Titans and everything, just like was like wow, because those guys look tiny because he's like 1,000 feet tall or something crazy like that. He's massive. That they're trying something like that. That thing just looks way too breakable to me. Like
it just looks 100% breakable in so many ways. So we'll see how it's shipped, though. We'll see that. But Roger, did you guys watch the Prime One showcase last night or no?
So I missed a good chunk of it, but I spent most of today scrolling and looking through the Instagram and looking at a lot of the teases they have on there, and then looking further online to see what else I could find. And like I said, I was able to see some of it. The Berserk piece, like every now and then someone puts out pieces or puts out something that kind of like I think redefines like what a centerpiece for your collection would be.
Yeah.
And like that Guts piece is just, I know whenever I design something, I'm always being conscious of the footprint and how much space I'm taking up, because I always want to like, make sure that I'm not being, unreasonable what I'm doing. At the same time, I respect when someone like Prime One does, like, you know what, who cares? Here's the biggest piece that you're ever going to get. It's going to take up the biggest amount of space possible. Build your collection around this. And I have mad respect for like going all out like that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So I saw that. I real curious. I want to see more of the Riddler. because as we saw the reveal recently from Sideshow and their Riddler, do a comparison. I want to see both of them and at some point and just kind of compare both of those. They're going to look like, because I love what Prime One does with DC pieces, level of fidelity and details. I think theirs is 1/3 probably. I think. So that, obviously it puts it in a different echelon as far as I'm concerned of level of fidelity compared to what you're going to get out of the Sideshow one. I still like Sideshows too, because I always, their paintwork. I like their paintwork a lot. For the most part, of what they do for characters that are stylistic, comic book stylistic. Mr. Freeze, dude, yeah, looks incredibly cool. I thought I was happy to see the Doomslayer. That was awesome to see. I'm a huge Dune fan, so I don't collect movie pieces, but I love admiring them. And the Paul Atreides piece looked awesome. The hair sculpt looked rad. I love seeing hair sculpts, seeing how because I always wonder how far I should push fidelity of hair sculpting, or what's going to be too difficult to print and produce and stuff. So again, when I see companies push that envelope as far as what we can get out of a sculpt and what we can bring, that's also capturing a real piece. It's not like it's a stylistic piece. It's based off Timothée Chalamet's hair, so it's like it's capturing all those details. I'm trying to think what else. Prey is a huge fan of the movie. Love the details on that. There's a Xeno I saw too from Alien, which is incredible too.
Alien 3, I think, right? Something like
that.
Yeah,
like Alien.
There's another one too. Right? Was Alien 3? There's another one too, right?
Yeah, there was a
from Romulus.
From Romulus.
Yeah.
Romulus.
So,
that's
right. Ooh,
yeah,
that's a nice base.
Wow, look at that.
Let me get you big screen real quick.
I like the flow of that.
Let me that wrong big screen.
There it is. Yeah, that was my nose hairs.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Jeff has a very nice looking chiseled chin there and everything.
That's the real stature right there, man.
I can finally locate my chin after losing 20 pounds. So
there we go. Yeah, it has a very anime based vibe with the
very anime.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that, seeing the base already channels in what to expect as far as stylistically what we're going to look at, right?
I'm honestly feeling like Storm's transformation from X-Men 97, which kind of had that anime, magical girl-esque kind of feel when she transformed into her original outfit and stuff.
Which was an awesome sequence. They had so many great sequences in that TV show. Every now and then there was a moment where they completely pushed themselves away from the original show and blew up. I
will admit, I like most of the show, but I hate what they did to Rogue. I hate Rogue in that.
Oh, that was awful. Yeah, that was bad.
I'm sorry, but you're never convinced me. They did not assassinate her character. She's not behaving like.
And
Rogue.
She had no booty to go with it as well.
Well, she showed booty in some.
That's the main gripe. That was the number one gripe. Wow.
I'd be really nervous with how thin that piece is and everything like that.
How does it? What material? Does it feel like a strong material or what?
No, it's resin.
Okay.
Light resin, not.
Yeah, it's very, very light resin. I'm not sure if I put this in first and then her, but we'll find out here soon. So I'm just gonna slap that. That goes right there. I believe her hand probably comes on top, like it's shooting.
Yeah, right.
Down. Let me know if it's too bright. I can shut off some lights here.
How many total pieces to put it together is it?
There's a bunch. I got a lot of pieces here.
I suspect a lot of debris is going to be the pieces. Yeah.
Let me know. Let me kill this. How's that look? Does it look better?
Yeah.
Definitely does give us more contrast.
Okay.
Yeah. Just because it's all that white and light blue and everything on the base right now. But sorry, didn't mean to get sidetracked there. I'm sorry, but that's one thing.
No, not at all.
97, I hate. I can't stand what they did to her. And my boy Gambit. I did not like Gambit's fate in that because it just felt like his only purpose in the first season was to.
I mean, I don't think we're done with him though. I don't think we're done.
No. I understand, but I didn't get much Gambit in my 10 episode. What could have been the only season, and if it just felt like his only purpose in the show was to have, no matter how cool a moment it was him to get stomped on. He got stomped on a lot, especially in episode 5, and died.
So I don't know if they sculpted it this way, if it pegs in anywhere. There's this odd divot here. It might be on her neck. I'm not sure. It's pegged. And this thing, like I can hear things moving around in it.
Did it break a little bit? Because it looks like
it
the
looks
connection
like it.
point.
I'm not sure. I think it looks like that, or it pegs in. So
okay,
but it's very light. It's like if I drop this thing, that's it. It'll shatter. It's super light, feels super thin. The textures are good. The gold on it's not too bad, but yeah, it's very, very light. So that worries me a bit, but we'll see once I put it all together.
Out of her cape, then maybe that's a good thing. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, it might peg somewhere around here. Not quite sure. I didn't. There's no instructions or anything for it, so you know how that goes.
Anybody like any of the Lord of the Rings on Prime ones?
Dude, they always knock it out of the park.
Like, the Sauron. I love their. I mean, but that thing's like 5 feet tall.
Yeah.
Hey, Elaine, actually, I'm surprised with the size. I thought it would be a lot bigger. So,
bro, it's so massive.
I mean, it looks like it's 45 inches, which I thought it would be like 55. So, like, it's a little bit different from what I thought. Because he's ginormous and it's 1/3. So, like,
I want to see it next to like the half scale. How much bigger it looks next to the half scale Infinity.
I think it's going to be the same size.
No, it's got to be bigger. The quarter scale Sauron was the same size as half scale.
That's what she said. Aiden said.
That's nice.
Yeah,
it's nice.
I like the skin tone, a little bit of the red.
Hey, move it up a little bit. Move it up.
Yeah, this one. I know Alan Keever's in the joint. Thanks for joining, Alan. Thanks for you, Alan.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's some
exceptionally nice
booty there.
I see where the money went.
Nice, nice clean lines also.
Yeah. So that's how she's going to key in there on the foot and then the back.
William,
actually looks really good. So
nice clean lines, William. I could see it looks good from here.
Yeah.
From what I could tell, the lines are pretty clean. It's some good clean lines in there.
Not practical for fighting battles, I would say, but hey. It sells the money.
That's about 95% of heroes' costumes, especially for ladies especially, I mean, back in the 70s, I remember seeing issues with Saturn Girl, and you were mostly asking, how is her top actually staying attached, other than, is she using some of her, like, telekinetic powers to actually hold stuff in place?
Alan said he loves it. Yeah. What you said about him, and Gabriel said beautiful sculpt, so.
Yeah. Do you know specifically
the only thing I see here, the boot doesn't peg all the way in. I'm not sure if it was meant like that because it's like rocky, so it's kind of hard to tell if it's flush or not. Let me turn it that way. I don't know if I'll be able to get a close up. I could try to pull the camera, but if I lose, let's get her all done, and then I'll risk pulling the camera so you can get you guys a good close up here. But yeah, it doesn't. I'm trying to force it down, and that's as far as it'll go.
Don't force
Does the lack of pegging in, does that make it lean at all any direction, or is it fine?
No, it's pretty solid too.
Yeah, the whole statue is. And Cypher said, did someone say boob? And I think we said booty, not boob. So.
But hey, whatever you like, man.
Yeah. There's
lots. As Vince McMahon has taught us, there's a lot of likes in the world, even sometimes ones that make us look cross-eyed.
Vince McMahon, that guy's a character.
I just watched the documentary on him too on Netflix.
Ooh.
Very nice. Wow, that's
wow.
Really well done.
That's some white ass hair, that's for sure.
The sculpt is
it's got the blue in there.
Okay. Yes. On the screen, it just kind of looks white because obviously
it's kind of blown out a little bit.
Pull it back a little bit. Pull it back a little bit.
See if I can.
Yeah, I can see the blues.
Yeah, I can kind of see the hints of blue. Yeah.
Let me get in there now. What about now?
There we go.
I would prefer not too much of that blue. It's kind of fighting against the base. It's like the same technique.
Well, I think the blue is. I would think the blue is like the lighting from the lightning. Maybe that's why it's got that hint of blue in there.
If it's all, is it centralized towards the bottom over here, or is it throughout?
Yeah, yeah. It's more. It looks like it's more centralized like this.
Oh, okay. All right. That
So it's
makes
not
sense.
really inside. It's more centralized.
That makes sense.
Get my bald head over here.
Yeah, I was thinking. I was thinking the same thing you were thinking, Jeffrey. If you're going to add the blue, you're going to have it in there. I normally see that as kind of like a baked-in AO type of like ambient occlusion in the depth, in the deeper parts of it to kind of make the outer edges kind of pop. So I was kind of curious to see if it's sporadically on there, or if it's more so applied in the grooves and the creases and stuff like that to make the finer lines pop out more.
It appeared to look a little bit more sporadic than I would have liked.
Yeah.
Aiden's saying that she has the Donald Trump spray tan. That's what he's saying right there. So.
Oh.
Of course, Aiden would say that.
He didn't say that exactly, but that's what I got from it.
Donald Trump spray.
Yeah. There we go.
Oh, Marcos, you always have the right way to put things.
Hey, I'm just trying to interpret it, you know.
Yeah.
How many portraits does that come with, William?
It comes with 3.
3.
Oh, nice. Is this based off a specific era of Storm's costume? A specific.
So it looks like a combo, actually. You know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. You know, they didn't say what direction they were with this, but all I know is X-Force, so I just said, I'll take it. Mm-hmm. There is some issues. Look like this finger broke, and oh, never mind. Is that a peg? Yeah, it's a peg. I was like, man, she's got 6 fingers. Look, she got 6 fingers. Wow.
Yeah, I could see how that gets construed.
She looked like she looked like she borrowed RoboCop's interface to.
I think she's like. So it pegs in here to the lightning, but the peg's kind of iffy. Yeah, like the peg is. Look like it broke or something. Not sure if I can get that in there quite right, but I'm gonna try. That's gonna be a little challenging.
Would you recommend, I guess, the order of putting that in for that way? Probably put in the hand in first, I guess, and
possibly I just pull this piece out. And it's one of my pet peeves is like pieces like this that are so flimsy.
Yeah.
How are the magnets on that?
The magnets are pretty good. They're pretty strong. That's why I was kind of worried about pegging this in. Yeah, see the tip of this peg broke off, which is fine, but I think this is the challenging part, right? Stick the peg in and stick her arm in at the same time.
Yeah, you got to pick her up, right?
Yeah, I think it's like kind of bringing it down at the same time. Put it in her hand and bring her down with it.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's always fun putting these together.
Yeah. And then there's no instructions, right? So you kind of gotta.
Hey, for as bad as that looks, it could be worse. You could be trying to put together now for the next 6 hours that Power Master Optimus Prime.
Yeah.
Prime 1. All 100 pieces of it.
Wow.
The Way Studios has a piece just like that too. That looks like a nightmare. It's even bigger than the Prime 1. So.
Oh, that Power Master. And that's not even the biggest Prime now. That's not even the biggest Prime now. That looks like the mini-me one now next to that Optimus Prime Arsenal.
Oh, Arsenal, yeah.
That thing makes that one look small. Although some of those Gypsy Danger statues and stuff that have been put out have had quite a few pieces to them too. And some of the what's the series? Why am I suddenly I almost said Deep Rising, but that's
Pacific Rim.
Pacific Rim.
Yeah, Pacific Rim.
Yeah, that's Way Studios. They do some great work.
Yeah, they had their I love their dragon. I thought their Dragon Zord statue was really good from Power Rangers. They've done some good stuff, but I've heard they've had some QC issues with both of those.
Man, it was pretty cool though from Prime when they showed some of the Transformers pieces and other pieces. They showed how many pieces are with the statue, and some of them are 150 plus and 200 plus.
Yeah.
God damn.
Well, they were showing that Megatron, which is I guess a new subline that they're starting. So remember, we thought that was going to be maybe a complementary piece originally to the Power Master Optimus, but it's I thought it was like Cybertronian Emperor Megatron or something, but it's Overlord Megatron, which is part
What's
of
going
the
on?
Age of
What we got?
Overlord. Oh, with that.
What do we got?
What
The
the hell?
engineering on this is always tough because now it's like you gotta fit. This is the tough part. It's a great piece, but you gotta fit her hand. So you gotta put the lightning her hand. Then you gotta put this. I guess it's just support for her body behind her calf and on the swirl. So it's like now I gotta move her again just to kind of get the pieces in.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna say that looked like a giant box of poo there. That boulder there for a second.
Wayne, come on, man.
Sorry, I go by what I say. What stuff looks like. Well, it does kind
You got
of.
it.
Yeah.
Is it snug in there? Or?
I mean, it is. It ain't going nowhere, but it's just kind of.
Nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
I just wish they kind of figure these things out during engineering and stuff and not have. Because it does get a little complicated with some of the stuff. I'm not quite sure what these bells are on her wrist. I think I don't know. I think there might be some lightning piece. I'm not quite sure. There's you know what? I think it's part of her cape. That's what it is. It ties into her cape and her back. So the cape looks like it pegs in on the back of her neck and on her finger, on her wrist.
Oh my gosh.
Yikes.
Oh boy.
Be careful.
Oh, that is. That is.
Oh, so that's that back of the piece of the neck that you were talking about.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
But the problem is
I don't know.
engineering, man.
What's the natural order of putting this thing together? That is
Exactly.
a conundrum right now.
You know my pain with some of these anime statues I do, man. This is the pain.
Yeah. That's the same thing, man. With all their
I
weird
have a piece that's right here. That dude, there's some pieces you have to like, big pieces, so you got to finagle, man. It's nerve wracking.
It's around this time I start sweating putting the piece together.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'm really sweating. So like this piece right here, I might have to heat this up and warm it, but it's off at an angle and it doesn't peg in.
Okay.
And there should be another piece going. Is there another piece of the cape, or is that it?
Yeah, no, that's the cape. It's like giving you that flow, like that hurricane flow.
It wants to show the booty. That's what that's.
Yeah.
Well, probably that's part of it too.
Yeah.
So it does not peg in on this one. I might have to just like heat it. I don't know how I could twist it to fit, but it won't fit in here.
Yeah. There are some times where where Sideshow just has like.
I forced it in.
Put it together.
Good.
Force it in. It didn't break. Don't break. Okay.
It seems like it's flexible type of. It's almost like not quite resin.
Yeah.
It's very thin. It's like it was printed, and it's like they possibly didn't do the grading part inside.
Right.
I don't know why, but my head looks so damn bright under this light. But
man, you can't help it.
Don't worry, you just like.
I know why.
Don't hide your angelic nature, man.
I know, right?
Yeah, you just like
shiny head.
I mean, he just looks positively Lex Luthorian tonight. Mm-hmm. So
just need some baby oil like P Diddy, man.
I don't know if we want to be referencing P Diddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's my hero, man.
Nice try, Diddy.
All right, here's a couple more portraits here. This one's got a lot of foam in there to protect it. Oh, this one's cool.
Just the mohawk. Oh no,
wow.
His hair kind of going crazy.
Crazy freaking. You see how they do. Well, from this angle, the blues seem sporadic and without purpose almost. Is that just
like
I see what
to
you're
put
saying.
in the detail they did elsewhere and then and not be as precise about where they put the blue here? Like I said, I would anticipate seeing it more so in the roots.
Honor the sculpt. That's one of the biggest things I believe in. You honor the sculpt, because it's crying for details that aren't there. But it's nice. It's two nice portraits.
And I think it should be like a hint of blue, not like as much as it is, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Just like
We got
kinda-
one more portrait. I'm just gonna sit this one in there just so you guys get a visual.
That is a nice set of bed hair. I love it.
She got a crazy
Yeah.
mane.
Love it.
Does she have also? I don't remember now, but does she have a better, or does she have a meaner, aggressive, more expression in this one?
Oh, I don't
Yes.
know, but I thought it was
She-
3
it's
portraits.
dope,
It's actually 4.
Oh, good. Hopefully one of them is, she's going a little ape shit.
This is the more of the 80s look.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to see that one.
That looks cool.
Ooh, I like that.
Ah, really, very nice.
Yeah, different expression. Okay, cool.
I like it.
The portraits are really good. I just think the paint job on the portraits kind of seem a little flat, but they look good though. At least that's a positive.
You like the earrings on the mohawk too?
Because you're there, are the lips the same? Is there any color to the lips? I can't tell.
There's a slight color to the lips.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I could. Let's see. Let me get this a little bit brighter here. See if I can get a little bit closer. I'm not sure if you can tell the
Yes.
color.
Yes.
Yeah, I can see it a little bit.
And they're
There, it's there. It's a little. Go ahead. Sorry, Jeffrey.
no, I was going to say it's the same throughout all the portraits.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry about the go on.
That one, yeah. See, I like that one. I like because you can get a little bit. The other ones with all the hair, you can kind of see more of the cape coming up behind her and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think honestly, I might like this portrait, this one or the first one most for the statue.
Agreed. But I don't know if stylistically, it's different errors, but it doesn't really matter. It looks good,
Yeah, it's like they've kind of borrowed elements from different eras, so it doesn't bug me if there's like a little bit of a change of continuity, because I can see the mohawk with this costume, and I can see the first one as well with this costume.
Well, this one had a broken tip of hair. It's not that big of a deal. It's very small. Can hardly tell where it was at, but I'll see if I can get that glued
Hey,
on.
Will, Jojo was asking, does a mohawk one have blue tint in it as well?
Yeah, they all got the blue.
Okay.
This is
I
my
like
favorite
that.
one so far right here.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's different.
Sucks that it had a little breakage, but this one
Yeah.
for me is the best. When I think of Storm, this is it.
Nice portrait.
Yeah.
Let's put this one on.
I'm too young for the mohawk look, so I don't get it. Every time I see it in I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, I was digging it back in the 80s.
Yeah,
Yep. Gonna put this piece here. So yeah, that's pretty much Oliver. I'm surprised it was 4 portraits, honestly. I don't remember it being 4. I thought it was just 3. So it's kind of cool. Do wish there was like a little stand to put her in, or for the rest of the portraits,
Yeah.
Yeah, I really, I wish every commissioner would be as accommodating in making a little bust for all my portraits. Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, right.
Oh man.
Yeah, it also depends on the artist that's doing the sculpting, if they implement it in the sculpt, because a lot of the times commissioners purchase the file and they don't look into it, and then they just kind of that's just what it's going to be. And then to ask the sculpt, stands and stuff like that, I think if you're an artist, you should just have it sculpted anyways. So
Hey guys, I see about 15 people in the chat, man. Give a like and subscribe if you guys haven't to Will's channel, man. That would help out a lot. So
yeah, I really appreciate that. Let me go ahead and rotate her here. Got her on the Lazy Susan. We're just gonna rotate, chat a little bit more. To me, there are a few little things I see here that kind of I think would have been a little different. I do get a little frightened. That's why one of the hair pieces probably broke. Is just so when you do a lot of hair like that, the shipping and the packaging, even if they put it in the packaging, as much foam as they can with the bouncing, it's so thin they just break off like that piece was. But I'm surprised it was just one head that broke. Like all the other pieces don't look like there's any chips in it. The difficulty in terms of pegging them kind of bothered me a little bit. I hate when they do that because it's all about risk assessment and not damaging the piece when you're putting it together, so you get that, you kind of get the shakes. When I did that Attack on Titan one and it wouldn't peg in and I couldn't get it in, I was just like, I'm not putting this in. I'm not going to break someone else's piece because I'm trying to, do a video or a live stream or anything like that. I feel that, like I said, great piece. I love everything about it. It's very cool, very comic-y. I got a lot in the back that look like that. It's not super hyper-realistic. I like the skin tones, very good. There are some shades in there, but Marcos, you're right. It is a little bit flat. There should be a little bit more to it. The lightning coming off her hand reminds me of a glacier, not really lightning.
Icicles, yeah.
That's the vibe I'm getting from this piece.
Yeah.
Let me there you go. That's the vibe I'm getting from this piece over here. So I kind of wish it wasn't as glacier-y.
Yeah.
And the way they applied the paint kind of seems a little messy on the lightning. It doesn't really give me, I think they were going for like a glowy effect in the clouds, but it didn't really give that effect. From a scale, I think I give it an 8 just because of these little things. And I feel that the base on the rocks probably should have had a little more lighter tone to it because I hate to say it, Alan, you kind of made Lane, sorry, you made a point, Lane, that it does kind of look like balls of poop.
Now, are the boulders all around the same exact color? Because that's what it seems. You see, like the base is the exact color of all the whatever debris you may want to call it floating around. There's no color variation, no darker gradation showing the earth going from darker to lighter surface. Nothing, right?
Yeah. This is Gabriel's got a good point right here. Have you guys seen that? Yeah. He's got a really good point on that. I say the same. I think they kind of look blue. At least this one right here. I'm not quite sure. I know I shut off my light, but this one right here, this portrait right here, Gabriel, with the ponytail does have the hint of blue in it. Actually, they all do. Let me see if I can get closer. You guys can see the eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see that hint of blue in there?
I like the little teeth, the little Madonna tooth.
Yeah. So it does have the blue, Gabriel. So every portrait will have that little blue. The idea behind it, in my opinion, is just like it's lightning. You get, the way light is, it kind of just goes everywhere, and I think that's kind of probably the challenge I had on the paint. I know what you guys were saying earlier about the paint, but I think that was like the idea. But if they really wanted to, and I know Jeffrey can contest to this, if they really want to give a lot of light effect, they could have put blue on the skin, on the leather. They kind of blended that lighting kind of coming up to it. They didn't for whatever reason, which is fine. If you have this piece and you're in the East Coast, just send it to Jeffrey. He'll fix it for you. Don't even worry about it.
The gold, is that gold trim? Is it like gold? It looks green gold from here. I'm not sure.
It could be my lighting. I mean, I could switch my lighting up. That's cold.
Will you tell me?
So that's white. So it depends on the lighting, right? If I go white,
right.
Let me lower this down. Let me go 20%. So it just depends on. It does look like gold. It doesn't look like there's any hint of green in it, like visually from what I can see. But you guys just tell me what light's better for seeing this piece. If you guys like this warm light, if you guys want white, I can always switch it up. So just let me know. I want to make sure the visual is good for everybody that's on stream that's looking. Thank you, everybody, the 16 people that are watching right now. I really appreciate it. But yeah, I give it a lower score only because of the pegging, the engineering on it. Like her hand right now is not sitting flush with the lightning, so there's a gap. The boot has a gap, and the peg here on the back is kind of loose. See, I kind of move it around. I get the engineering part where it's stable, so if there was any shaking, it would stable. Concept, I love the concept. I think the idea is great with the swirl and the cape flowing upwards, the hair flowing. So they did implement the hair flowing and stuff. So that was cool. I really like that. Other than that,
great energy, right? It's got great energy. That's
it really does. Has really good energy. So kudos to the group that did this piece. Very good piece. Like I said, her rear derrieres sculpted perfectly. I think only Roger could sculpt it a little bit better, but this is
appreciate vote of confidence.
It's on point. I know. If you guys really want to know a good opinion, ask Mr. Kiefer. He's a bum guy. He knows what's going on over here. He'll tell you exactly what it needs and doesn't need. But they did a really good job on the texturing. There's a lot of different shapes of texture on the leather, and on her sash around her shoulder. You can see. I think the gauntlets should have had something a little more. They seem pretty flat, and I think it went to match her boots because it seems pretty flat too. I don't see any battle damage. I mean, to me, it looks like she might be getting into battle damage or battle, but that's kind of the only things I see. I don't think it's necessary to have crazy battle damage, but a little bit on there doesn't hurt. But yeah, the lining's good. Like they didn't the QC part they didn't really mess up. I mean, it looks pretty nice and straight on all the seams and things like that.
How many pieces were made of this particular statue?
I don't know because the bottom doesn't have an ES. It's just blank. That's the other thing. You know, normally they put a sticker on the bottom and give you the ES. I looked at this one. It's blank. It could be a prototype. I don't know. They just sent it to me and I just grabbed it, but there's nothing underneath it. So I have no idea what my ES is. So I'll contact the commissioner and ask him, say, hey, what the hell's my ES? I got a blank piece. It could be an AP. You know, it could be one of those pieces that it's artist approved but doesn't have a number. Doesn't really matter. You know.
But do you know how many they made in general?
I would think normally when it comes to custom groups and the particular piece would be 20 to 30. I think we're in that range.
It could be 20 to 70 depending on who you are, I guess.
I don't think this sold 70 honestly. But I'm pretty sure it might be 30. Like I said, I can ask Sana.
I was just curious, you know, visualizing how much.
Yeah. So Marcos, what do you think?
I think it's pretty good, man. It reminds me of the sideshow piece, pretty much. The sideshow storm. I think they did a little bit better on the base too with the coloring, and they have like a darker blue, I guess you could say. It's like a gray, dark blue. It kind of goes in that like range, but it makes it look more like a storm. This one looks like the color looks like a what's the? Oh my god, I'm blanking out because I'm not a huge Naruto fan, but the second Hokage. They came out and it looks, and he's like a water-based character. It looks like that. So it looks like I guess ice water.
That's what I got the vibe from. Yeah.
And the paint from when you brought up close, it looked a little flat on the base. The best part about it is the storm, like the body, like the 100%. So they really killed it on that. So putting it together though, I saw it wasn't the easiest. So that's pretty typical with, I feel like, with customs nowadays. Like they try to do a little bit more intricate pieces. I get it, but I think if you're gonna do a pretty intricate piece, maybe have at least a video how to put it together, or you know, like the instruction guide that would help out so much. Like I have a couple unlicensed anime pieces, and they're a nightmare. Like 35 plus pieces, don't know where, like those tiny little things.
Especially those large dioramas that have everything in there. It's a nightmare to put it together. That wing together, that thing was a nightmare. So
but overall, she's not my favorite character. I will never get a storm, so I'm not the biggest judge, but probably 8.6, 8.7 for me. But solid statue, solid storm. It just, like I said, it's competing. Like that's the best part right there. That's a shot.
And that's how I'm gonna play her. I'm just gonna have to face everybody.
Take the cape off. Just let it all out.
That's it. But no, overall, I think it's a pretty good statue. If you're a storm collector, I don't know what the price is. Hopefully, it's a solid price.
It was a decent price. It was a decent price.
And a black suit storm. I don't know how many there are, even licensed ones of that. I know XM did one, right, a long time ago.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And I think it was 1/6 as well, so it wasn't even 1/4. So, man. Yeah.
Yeah, sweet. Lane, what do you think?
I think it came out really pretty good. I like 3 of the 4 portraits that came with it. The first, 3rd, and 4th ones, I really did like how that. I do think with this costume, the Mohawk one doesn't quite match. It's the one maybe I think I like because it showed most of the cape kind of flowing up and everything behind her, but it feels like the one that doesn't fit this look like at all. The base work, I can't get around, honestly, that a lot of the rocks all look like giant bogs of poo. Just with the light brown that they used or whatever. And then it's just all like that. That just popped in my head. I could see absolutely hating the connections like you were having there are some things where you can be just like that big ass Hulk from Sideshow, where it's just 3 pieces put together, done.
Yeah.
But I can't complain about the view right now at all. But I do like the base. Don't love it. There's a lot of white there and everything, and I guess it's if she was like supposed to be shown like airborne in the clouds maybe or something, that's what they were going for. I would get that more.
I think that's what it was. I think it was like she's starting to lift off, and I think that was the whole point of the piece. I haven't seen a cloud swirl yet as good as XM Storm. That one has a great swirl. Like that's like the grail of storms if you think about storms, right?
Yeah, it's good. I'd probably give it an 8.3 out of 10, but I haven't owned a storm statue either. So like I do kind of pull myself back a little. The only storm I've owned was a Bowen bust back in the day.
Right.
I think it's a very solid piece though. Also, I have never done a custom myself that I bought, statue-wise anyway, like that. So, you know, for the difficulty of putting together and stuff, I can unfortunately only go with, like a lot of you guys discussed, can be the issues with it. Right. I could see where if you're deciding on this storm or like, hey, should I just get the premium format or something like that, at least putting together, I would push someone maybe towards the other one to not, if you're not sure about how well fat-fingered you might be for putting together the piece, kind of, you know?
True. Roger, what do you think, man? What would you potentially do differently in the sculpting phase? You know, what would you like to do differently? Just kind of want your professional opinion based off sculpt, even paint, because you're great at that as well.
Yeah. So the cool thing is I hadn't seen this piece yet, so that already, you know, get some points for me because I you know, I'm always looking for pieces. I'm always like scouring the internet and looking at all the customs that are coming out. So I hadn't seen this one. I do like that it has a kinetic flow despite it being a, you know, a statue. It being more of a what's it called? More of a stagnant piece, but it looks more like it's not as dynamic, but it still looks like it's still got flow to it, which I do like. I'm sorry, despite it being like kind of a museum piece, it still has a kinetic kind of vibe to it.
Yeah.
I will say that initially when I first saw the base and my anticipation of what the character would look like, if I just saw the base first and I assumed what the character that went with it would look like, I would imagine it would have been more stylistic and more anime looking because the base and the way the clouds move have a huge like Dragon Ball vibe to me. So, and about the rocks pulling up off the ground, I do think that to make it look less like, and ever since you said it looked like poop, I've been thinking of ways to like make it look less like that. And I think if we saw more fragmented pieces closer to the ground coming up off the ground instead of them being kind of sporadically, it would emulate the idea more of them lifting up off the ground. If you had like closer pieces of the ground start to fragment off the smaller ones as you start going up. It's a nitpicky thing, but it kind of like helps the idea of creating the idea that there's flow going on. The lightning doesn't feel like, you guys both said, it didn't quite feel like lightning to me, but it does remind me of the Speed Force. I kept looking at it, and it reminds me of like what the lightning looks like at the Speed Force. So it kind of reminded me of that. Like I said, it's another nitpicky thing, but it's when you're coming up with the idea of like, how do you emulate lightning, which is supposed to be like a very, you know, abstract idea. What's the best way to do that? So it's more like it's a creative choice, right? It's more of a, you know, aesthetic choice from the person designing it. That's just kind of the vibe I got from it, especially since it's looked like she's emitting the lightning from her hand as opposed to like controlling it coming down from somewhere or controlling it from coming up. I think there's some great details on the leather. When you brought it up really close, I thought there were some good details on the boots, on her abdomen. I think there's great details there. I do wish they had found ways of highlighting those details more through the paintwork, as opposed to putting a pretty flat application of paint on it. At least this is what it looks like from here. I could be completely wrong based off saturation of the video. There's that. The detailing on the gold I would have loved to have gone ham on the details on the gold. I know there's versions of her that have more of a Wakandan vibe to her.
Yeah.
So like adding those types of details, I think I probably would have made them pop, especially on the gold, since that's an area that draws the eye in. And it's an area where you can actually like, get away with showing off some cool details. And I probably would have done something with the paint application as well to kind of make those details pop more. Again, instead of like giving it more of a flat application, perhaps adding some deeper golds or bronzes into the edges or into the crevices and stuff too, to kind of make the highlights pop more on the gold.
Right. Yeah, Eden made a comment that seems the skin was a little too orangey.
I was about to say that. So, skin, right, and like preferences and what you're trying to emulate, what you're like, everything. There's a lot of storytelling that goes into creating skin and the right skin tone, right? You're talking creating a regional look. You're talking about creating something that's more akin to demographics and stuff here and there. Right? There's a lot of like ways of how you would depict skin, especially like I find one of the more difficult aspects of depicting black skin is like the variation of color. There's like a beautiful variation of color that goes across the entire body, including on the face. There's a lot of variety, which also is kind of scary too, because how do you get that right? There's so many ways to go wrong. I do feel that this does have a little bit of an orange hue. At the same time, it could be a preference thing because there is skin that looks like this. Like I'm saying, I'm not saying there's a right or a wrong here. But as far as preference is concerned, as far as the storm that we've seen in the comic books, it typically is not on the orange hue side, unless it's a little bit less saturated.
Yeah.
And Jeffrey brought it up earlier on the lips. I think I would have also found an opportunity to add more hues and add more variety to the lips. And at least maybe the paint application for the makeup on her a little bit. Hair sculpt. I love the fact that they, on a couple of the hair sculpts, they took some real risk there in making concave and looped areas of the hair where it actually comes up off the sculpt and goes around. I'm always a fan of when people do that and you create these like gapped areas in between the sculpt that are obviously harder to print but look awesome, especially with the hair. Yeah. You see with fire too, it happens that way as well. Cape looks cool. I'm concerned about like how well it pegs in and how well it's going to stay up there as far as when it connects to the hand and the wrist. The like cloth anatomy and how that works. There's so many ways to kind of depict that. I think this is a good enough depiction of it. I might have added probably some more what they call like tube folds, perhaps, to kind of go with it, but I think it still looks good. I don't know what the price point is on it. That might also change maybe how scrutinous I am about it. If it's a lesser price piece, then I probably won't be so scrutinous of it. But if it's higher priced, I typically am going to like get a little bit more nitpicky about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my whole like top to bottom critique on it. Jeffrey, by all means, take it away and tell what you think.
Hold up, though. I think I'm gonna agree with DB Madness real quick, and this guy's saying some good stuff. It's like he's a professional at this, like the heck, man. Had some good ideas.
Hey, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
I think he did a couple of them himself, right? Same with Jeff. Like these guys, me and Lynn over here, and Will just like, this looks pretty good. Like little paint job. These guys are just gonna be fucking dorks about it.
From an academic point of view. Yeah.
No, it's like, hey, Marcos, when we ask Michael Reyes, hey, what do you think? He's like, it's nice.
It's your piece. Like, come on, dude.
So yeah, Jeffrey, give us your professional opinion in terms of paint. What would you do different? I did want to say that I think the piece I grabbed they slacked on, because if you get closer to the other debris flying, there are a lot of details, indentations, and things. I think, in my opinion, I think they should have dry brushed this a little bit more with a lighter color to, give it a little bit more depth, transition and depth. But yeah, it's like that. It seems like there's so much detail and cracks and stuff in the base, but then when you get to that, it's like a smooth, round kind of. Yeah. So they didn't. They slacked on some pieces. So it's not the whole base that looks like that really when you're up close, but those particular pieces they kind of fudged it in the factory.
And Will, look, Michael, it is nice. That's one right there. Gosh. I remember the other day, like, bro, give it a score. He's like, I can't give it a score. I'm like, give it a score, man. Like, come on. Michael, good guy, but.
Go for it, Jeffrey.
So there's some things that I'll echo that Roger had mentioned, and actually a lot of you guys have mentioned. First off, it's a low profile piece. It's a decent storm. It's got a nice sculpt. Like everybody points out, this is probably the best angle. But even the portraits, they're all very nice. I'm impartial to. I like the Mohawk, and I like probably the first one that you had shown, number one, and I don't even know. Yeah, that one and the Mohawk for me.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, the base, it's a bit of a miss. I like the kinetic energy, like Roger was talking about. I like the flow. It brings your eye. It's important when you do a piece, when you're sculpting or you're painting, you want to bring your eye and give yourself a little bit of a journey instead of it just going straight up and down. This one does a little bit of both for me by looking at it. It has that flow, but then she seems a little static at the same time. How do you get around that when it's a statue? Right. Sometimes you can, you know, it works for certain statues and it doesn't work for other ones. This particular statue kind of gives me both. The paint around the base, it does seem like more glacial, like you said, William. It's more of a glacier. I painted a Sub-Zero. I repainted and resculpted somebody's Mortal Kombat statue. It was one of my first modifications that I had done, and that's exactly what I did. I did blues and cool greens in there also, but this one maybe you could have separated it with making it a different tone for the lightning versus the swirling wind gust. Because it seems like it matches a little too much to that. And then you have the swirling rocks that if you took a dry brush, like you just said, William, I was going to say that, it takes 2 seconds to put a dry brush to it. You put a shadow on one side and you're done.
Yeah.
They didn't do that. I understand that it's in a factory. However, I suspect that the reason why I was asking what the high yes was because if it's 20 pieces, there's no excuse not to do it, right? There's no excuse in my book not to do it at all, ever. But skin tones, decent skin tones. I'm never into orangey skin tones. I would have liked to have seen like a brownish red. I kind of like that for Storm. It kind of brings me back to who Storm is. Be telling a story. It is subjective, but I'd like it closer to the story. The story I'm familiar with.
Right.
Let's see. The gold it's nice. I do agree that they missed an opportunity with embellishment of different types of jewelry. A couple of people mentioned the difficulty putting together. It's really not that many pieces, right?
No.
It's a pretty simple thing. It really, if you weren't in front of anybody, it probably would have taken you a little less time, or maybe more time. I don't know. But it's not that many pieces, and if it works right and if it's doable and things fit, it would be like really fast. Customs are like that,
Yeah.
Come with instructions.
And I just want to let the chat know, and anybody that's going to watch, and the commissioner and all these people, if you guys are watching, now remember, this is just constructive criticism. It's just a thought behind it for future projects to think about. Hey, these guys talked about this for this particular piece. Let's go back to the drawing board and go and do something different, or go based off their suggestions or things like that. So we're not shitting on the piece whatsoever. It's a great piece. I love it. There are a few.
Yeah, these are subjective suggestions.
Yeah, it's just a subjective. I'm happy with it. I think it's great. It does match my collection back there, because I got that custom Colossus back there, right? He's a little different, and we got SS and most of my pieces, and then we got SS Captain Marvel and Logan. So it's just, and that's why I love having Roger here. Jeffrey, for your professional opinion on these things, because this is a learning thing for other people that are watching. They're like, oh, that makes sense. Oh, when we talked about Parasite, I talked to the commissioner. He's like, hey, that really made sense with that paint. That's a good idea. So it's just, it's not knocking anything. The piece, there's nothing wrong with the piece in terms of what it is, based off. And I do love the flowing cape. So the idea was great behind it. It's just the application in the factory could have been a little, what these gentlemen
Well,
suggested.
let me just.
I remember I watched it though, about the Parasite when you unboxed it, and I have the Parasite piece, and I disagree with it, but it's not like I think it's a great piece. I think the details, the skin tone, everything, the different shades of purple it had were really great. But obviously the panel had different opinions, and I don't think like Jeffrey said, like everything's subjective when it comes to art.
Yeah.
It really is.
Let me clarify. I didn't get a chance to really wrap my thing up with a bow. What I was going to say on the positive note, it's a really nice looking piece. These are things that you may have it in front of you and see it a lot, more clear than I can. Mm-hmm. It's a nice looking storm statue. Can it be better? Of course it can be better. I don't know what the price point was. I like the flow of it. There's more positive than negatives, and that's it.
Yeah, and think about it. Even if it's the way I look at it, and the way the custom market is in terms of pricing for a custom quarter scales, it's been going up. This is not one of those pieces that's been going up. It was a very decent price, and you get 4 portraits.
Yeah.
Some people that doesn't mean anything because you're only going to display the one you like, and to other people it's like more bang for your buck, right? I have a friend that he's a collector. He's not going to pay $1,000 for the statue and a round base, and that's it. There's like nothing else to it, right? Mm-hmm. So he's like, to him, it wasn't worth it. So each and every one of us feel a certain way in particular about certain pieces. There are certain groups that'll have just a museum pose and they go for $1,500, and that's all it is, a flat back black base and the character. So it really depends on the collector and where your mindset is in terms of value. For me, this was worth it. It was valued at what it was worth it. Any of my pieces that I purchased, I really thought really hard in terms of, the value in terms of what I'm getting. And I really do love the museum post. So I'm willing to kind of stretch it a little bit and get certain pieces. Like this Black Widow back here. I mean, it's just Black Widow, a swap out gun with a knife. And she was a decent price. It wasn't bad. There wasn't much to it. And some collectors be like, no, I'm not going to pay that much for that. But to me, it was worth it. So it's very subjective to whatever, people collect. Cypher, you're right. It's a damn booty shot right there.
Yeah, no, it's the money shot for sure. Like I said, I love when companies make a female character sexy. I hate when companies don't make them sexy, if that makes sense. So, like it not like I'm not trying to sound like a horn dog, but it does make it does make a female statue better for sure.
See, yeah. DB Madness, you got a point there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it depends on the license piece. I'm not going to say any license name. I collect license piece. I market, promote everybody's work, whether it's custom or license. But yeah, there are some license pieces that are, shifting downwards towards the paint. Sometimes they go. It just depends on the project, depends on the factory and the timing. I've always said it. All license, all customs. You have good statues and you got bad statues. It's just the way it is. Maybe it's the timing of when the factory did it. Maybe the factory was overloaded and they just trying to push your product out. I mean, these things happen, right, with manufacturers. So, but yeah, I mean, it from what I'm looking at, it's pretty close to some of the license pieces you're going to get to in terms of the paint. I think just based off our opinions, we just kind of, I would say, just being a little picky. The only, like this one right here, for example, the QC on this portrait doesn't line up with the body. I can see it slit through the neck, and if I try to turn it, it doesn't turn. So there's like an overlap. So that's another QC issue with this piece on that neck part. If I could get a close up, I would, but maybe I'll shoot a little pictures and send you guys later. You can see what I'm talking about. But the more and more I look at it, obviously, the more and more I'm going to find probably some more issues with it. So just take it for what it is, I guess you would say.
Nice point.
What I was going to say is Cypher had a good point, man. Like I love these explanations that provide deep depth in your critiques. Other channels just say it's good or bad, can't articulate why. So thanks, Cypher.
Yeah, and for sure. I mean, like I said, Jeffrey, Roger, I'd love to have you guys continuously on the show. I have 3 more to do unboxing, so I'll do one each week, depending on how my job's #1 priority and I travel. So if I can do it or not. Actually, you can't see with the camera, but I got an XM piece up on top of the shelving that I got to do a live unboxing. It's XM Cyclops. I really love that piece, and I can't wait to do that and do that unboxing. But I figured I'd do. It just seems a lot more fun for me to not have to pre-record my unboxings. I like doing the live. And then getting you guys' opinion just makes, it's the cherry on the top. So
absolutely, and watching you sweat put the pieces together, like that's money, dude. Like I got front row seats.
Right, and that also helps for people that purchase it and don't have that print, right? It's like, okay, well, let's go back. Who's done an unboxing? So, oh shoot, William did that. He's one of the only guys. Oh, let's see how he put it together and how difficult it was or wasn't. So that's the other reason why I like doing these things. So it gives people a blueprint on how to put them together, because sometimes I don't even put the piece. I was like, I don't know where it goes. I'm just gonna throw it off to the side and figure it out. And I've done that plenty of times. Like, what, guys, forget about it. I'm just gonna put it on the side. We'll figure that piece out. But it looks great. I would have to say, in terms of the portraits, I think you guys are right. I'm with the first one I did, the Mohawk, and this one. I think I would go the Mohawk. This one. I'm sorry. The first one, this one, then the Mohawk, and the other one. So right now, I'd probably, if I were going to display her, I just did some rearranging here on my background. You can see Superman has his own stand. Batman has his own stand now. They used to be underneath. So I moved all that up. So I got more headspace now, so I'll put her right there, probably in front of Logan, so he could take a look at the back end here and enjoy himself, because they do come alive when I go to pet. So we'll go with that. I did want to talk about some other things. I know, Roger, you got some stuff you want to show us. For those, I'm just going to leave this spinning. If you guys want to check it out, you can check it out. We can always switch over here. If you have some stuff, Roger, we'll open your page and you can show us maybe some goodies.
Yeah, I can show off. I'm actually got my Substance Painter open. I'm working on the base right now for the Madeline Pryor diorama.
Right.
If my computer starts to chug or the screen starts to chug or I'm chugging, it's because we got a lot of polygons open. So yeah, let me go ahead and I'm going to share my screen here if I can present. Yeah, let's try this out.
Yeah, present and share screen. Go to the tab that's opening.
There we go. All right, entire screen. Here's screen one. Let me know if you can see it.
Yep, I got it.
Got it. There you go.
Oh, yeah. All right, so I added to the base and I added the word Inferno from, because the whole piece I was always calling it the Inferno piece.
Yeah.
Since obviously that's like the introduction story arc that she showed up in. I got the exact text and how it was done, like in the comic books, to be etched into the lava rock at the bottom. I'm not done painting the rocks yet. Right now I'm taking more of like, I'm going in layers. So I'm going with like lighter down to the ground. So lighter where the feet are at. And then as it gets closer to the rocks at the bottom, it'll be more illuminated, edge lit, illuminated by like the lava and stuff that's going on. Let me see here. Oh no, it froze. Okay, there we go. So let me go ahead and I'm going to turn this on to the, 1 second. We'll go to the base material. So right now we're looking at the base material color. I'm going to get in close to Professor X, Cerebro, and Magneto's helmet melting into the lava. And I'll go ahead and turn it back on to the material. Like I said, disregard the fact I haven't added, like I said, the flames and fire yet in the lava. I still got to do all that. But right now, that's Magneto's helmet, and I've got it melting. You guys see it?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it looks great.
So I got it melting, and I'm having like the paint that would be Magneto's helmet kind of like start to melt off and like break off as it just gets to just metal, like more of just like a reflective metal melting off into the lava, along with the purple pieces kind of melting off as well too, and some dirt, grime, scratches, things like that. Above the top here, I also have it illuminated as well. It would be nice if I could get that going because I have it in the original model illuminated. Professor X's X and his helmet illuminated. So up here at the top, Let me see if I can get moving again. It does not like having Substance open plus video, live video. So let me go ahead and, come on. 1 second. I've been working on Cyclops' visor up here. I have it, and I've just brought in all the pieces that I could here. It's not where it's going to be positioned, but in digital space, that's where I kind of decided to just have it here in scene. So
I think that was in her hand, wasn't it?
What was that? Yeah, it's in one of the goblin's hands.
Yeah.
So let's go to the material, turn that on. So here we go. That's his visor. Kind of just did my own take on what I'd like to see on this visor. So we have the button here.
Right.
And kind of a little bit of breakup from the yellow. So I added a little bit of like steel and chrome ring.
Yeah, that looks really good.
Also some dirt and grime and soot, kind of like putting here into the edges, into the creases and stuff. Also have some little cushiony kind of ear stuff kind of going on here, make it comfortable for Scott. So not necessarily like, it's not like Beats or anything like that, but he's got some cushion there for it. So that's the visor. Let me go ahead and back up here a little bit some more. Like I said, I still have to have the fire that's getting pulled out of the ground, and the lava that's getting pulled out is going to be controlled by her hand. She's standing right here. I can probably also show the teaser video if you guys haven't seen it yet, and get that on here as well.
Have you seen that yet, Jeffrey? His teaser video? Yeah, it's a great piece. I want your opinion on it once we pop it up.
Let me see. Give me 1 second, gents.
And I'm not a Madeline Pryor fan, so what is her powers?
Oh, so she's basically an evil Jean Grey. Like she's Mr. Sinister creates a clone of Jean. He's been stalking the X-Men for
the X-Men show, right?
Yeah, that's her.
Yeah, okay, I got it. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, when you get the chance, Aiden wants T800 thumbs up out of the lava. So whenever you get that chance.
All right, the closest you're going to get is the lava hand that's holding her up. Okay, just imagine that's Cyberdyne. There you go. There's the teaser.
Oh, nice.
1/4 scale, correct, Roger?
That's right.
That is the preferred scale, I feel like, for customs is 1/4.
Yeah.
Conceptually, it's just really fantastic.
Yeah.
It really is.
Thank you so much for saying that. Thank you. It really means a lot.
Really telling the story and just bringing it all together. It's very nice.
Thank you. It really, really means a lot coming from you. I appreciate that. I'm going to go and open up the actual Madeline file so we can see her. I finished the paint application for the hair. The version you're going to see right now is her. I haven't textured the eyes, so she looks extra spooky with white eyes. Which I don't know. Maybe I make a portrait with the white eyes. Who knows? Because to make her look like she's got her powers going on.
She has white eyes at some point and stuff when she's using her powers.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna let this open up right now. Like it's thinking.
Lane knows the deep cuts in comics for sure. So
yeah,
I know. I feel like we could talk shop just purely just based off our fandom.
Yeah, I could say, Roger, if you were gonna consider doing just like having one portrait with white eyes, if you have any with the hair anywhere, her hair is kind of standing up a little bit because like you're using to show her really.
That's like like full fire starter, right? Like it's full on,
yeah. I would say like if you have a head sculpt that has hair going where like she's having to really exert her power or something all of a sudden, that would be a time to do it. Like that might look good.
Yeah, like I said, as I see it and as I've been working on it, I see it with the wide eyes. I'm like, I almost like it like this. I know I'm doing a second portrait for sure that has her crown that she kind of gained from during the Krakoa era. So I'm adding that as part of the portrait, it like in front of her hair. So I have that going on. As soon as this opens up, like it's taking forever. Give me a second.
You had to remind me of the part that hurts my head. Yeah, that might be the anything from Krakoa era X-Men. I try and jettison out, even though I read like Dark X-Men, the most recent thing with her and everything. I try to block all that stuff out of my brain.
I was a fan. At least the Hickman early stuff. I feel like Krakoa ended poorly. The way they rushed the wrapping it up and stuff, but I was a fan early on of the of Moira McTaggart's big reveal and all that kind of stuff too. I actually thought it was a cool change of pace.
Is this the one you're talking about? Like kind of like this, Lane? Let me share this picture, like that.
Oh yeah, I know the artist that did this.
Yeah. So I think that's
like that.
Kind of like this, right?
Kind of like Phoenix, like she kind of has the same type of thing going on when she starts going ballistic.
Right. Yeah. So I already kind of had that picture in my thing, so I was just like, well, I think I know what you're talking about. Why is this not letting me?
I have a question about the base. Is it going to be strictly paint application to create those effects, the lava effects, the lighting effect, or is there some kind of a lighting thing going on?
I desperately want to add a light up effect to it, in between the creases of the lava where it's flowing and in the actual powers to kind of also give her some self illumination off it as well.
If you do that with the lava, make it like a pulsing effect if you can. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
That's when it comes to like the engineering side of it. That's all going to be like something new to me that I need to like navigate to figure out exactly what's the best way to execute it. Because I definitely want the words Inferno in the front of the base, like definitely lit up, right? Like I think that's a good point to have.
Yeah.
So here we go.
Yeah, I have a couple of anime pieces, man, that are like they have like multiple like effects, light ups. You can do a pulsing effect or a straight up light up effect, or a like a movement effect. So like definitely I don't know much about making statues, but like that'd be cool if you can do something like that with multiple like, light up effects. So yeah.
Now, Roger, this image is this is not rendered yet, right?
This is it'll look. It's not too far from rendering. Like this is actually in Substance Painter.
Right.
It will look a lot like this in the render. The materials aren't quite there yet because I haven't added the specularity and stuff to the skin and stuff. It's actually pretty flat right now.
Right.
But as far as like, I mainly did this one so I could make the hair and create the right color application I wanted for the hair.
Right.
So there's that. I also made this. I also used this to also make the cape. I added a little bit of speckle and metallic into the cape as well. So I'm wondering if that'd be awesome. It'd be rad to add into the actual paint application itself, having that in there. Here's the back.
So to answer Madness's question, that would be entirely up to whatever Roger would want to do. If it's translucent resin or some kind of UV paint application effect, I personally think if the lighting would be great, especially if you could do the lava flow effect on it. But yeah, that's a challenging engineering to make that potentially work, especially because there's a lot of different lighting colors. You got the lava, you got the power coming from her hand. That's a different color from the video. Her eyes, the goblin's eyes. So there's a lot of lighting stuff going on. So would it feel more premium with the lighting? Potentially. But if you get a guy like Jeffrey to paint it, it's probably going to look just as premium. So I think either way you go with it, it's going to look great.
Yeah. I haven't. So another thing too, I haven't added the materials to her teeth yet. So she looks like she's had some smoker's teeth. That's not the case.
Can I ask about that?
Yeah. I haven't added any materials or textures to the eyes or the teeth.
I got it.
Mainly because I already have those finished. This is all ultimately going to go into Unreal Engine, and that's where I'll be doing all the renders and all the turntables and I'll be doing a cinematic reveal, kind of like what you just saw in the teaser. And then after the cinematic reveal with music and effects and all that kind of stuff, then I'll do a breakdown video showing it up close with studio lighting so that you can see everything with natural lighting and studio lighting, 3-point setup, so that there's no, there's good dynamic shadows and stuff on it too. No colored lighting, so it's all flat lighting, so you can see everything like you would if you were doing an unboxing. So That, and then I'll have some up close shots of all the other pieces as well too, which are the goblins. Still got to texture the goblins too and add the materials into them, and then yeah, so that'll be it.
So what are you gonna say, Jeff? You were gonna make a comment?
I was going to say, I'm not sure who the person that had mentioned, oh, will it be translucent resin or paint application? And then you had answered them. In a perfect world, both, right? I mean, some of the lighting effects, rather than it just be a translucent resin, it should actually be painted with translucent paint, right? So that light will be able to shine through it. Now, it's nice to be able to have a piece, in my opinion, when I have a piece, where, I mean, I don't know how many of you guys actually use your lighting effects on your statues. I rarely do, but I do at times. Mm-hmm. But it's nice to be able to step back and see it, and it had the same effect without the lighting effect on. And that's just like the cherry on top type of thing, you know?
So, so I always say, because like I said, I've said it multiple times, I have a lot of anime statues. If you have a light up feature, it has to look as good without the light up feature. With the light up feature. I always say that, and if it doesn't, so what's up?
No, you're right. You're right. What you're saying. Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
There's pieces I've seen like, oh my gosh, that looks amazing. Like the 1/3 Iron Man statue Mark 7 from Queen Studios. It looked amazing, lit up, but not lit up. That base looks, in my opinion, does not look very good at all. I think it looks like shit. So,
wow.
So that's my thing, and that piece is like $3,000 or $2,500 or something like that. It's a very high price, so that's why I'm judging it even more. So like definitely a ladder feature. If it looks good without the ladder feature, you got to hit. But if you don't, if it's, if it doesn't have that same feel or a different feel that's good, there's no point of having a ladder feature. Might as well just
you shouldn't have to depend on the light up feature. To drive it,
Yeah, that's the case with that Sideshow Ghost Rider. Looks great with light, but without it,
it's
and then it looks
like you should only have that statue in your closet lit up at all times, right?
Or just use it as like a nightlight because it's super
like
bright.
Fold my clothes.
But it's like Jeffrey said, right? It's a challenging situation in a perfect world if you can make it work with translucent lighting, because let's just face it, you're going to lose the lighting. It's going to burn out. You're not going to be able to replace it. You won't. But at least with the translucent, you still kind of get that effect. So, so if let's say you're someone that's going to commission a project right now, I suggest you talk to whatever factory and say, let's do translucent with lighting, because once that lighting goes out, man, you're screwed. It's just the name of the game, right? So just you're aware of that. So, and plus, if you just do both, it just feels more premium. So just make sure you just do both. Looking good so far. When do you think, Roger, this would be like ideally complete?
I'm giving myself the end of this month to finish it, because like all I'm doing right now, I think as of the end of tomorrow, I should be done painting the base and creating all the lava effects and fire, emissive effects too. The primary objective of putting in so much work into this aspect of it and not just calling it done. Like I could call it done right now and have it just pure white and gray, just as a piece to print. But I really want to be sure I capture exactly what I'd prefer to see in the paint application as well, so that there are no variables when it comes to me trying to actually produce this, of saying like, hey, what's the best way we should approach this? I'll have an absolute blueprint of the overall aesthetic, what it should be for colors, what it should be for shading, what it should be for texture, when it comes to lighting, like all those types of things, all those types of questions will be answered. And hopefully, and I do it all with the hope of zeroing in on that and actually being able to replicate that as close as I possibly can. But like I said, I don't want to leave it to chance. And I think I'm also like putting this out as a portfolio piece as well from my end.
Right.
So like I said, otherwise I probably could have called it finished just for printing and just hope that someone captures what I prefer to do with it verbally. Right. But especially if I want to get a good engaging interest in this, I'd like to depict this as well as I possibly can as a 3D piece, as close to reality that we like it. Right.
Right. Yeah. No, it'll be an awesome piece at quarter scale with the goblins and all the Easter eggs you got on there with Cyclops, X, and Magneto. I think it's a great concept, and it looks like it'll be real estate friendly because they look like they're all really tight in there together, so the space doesn't.
Yeah, I made adjustments to it just because of that. Like I was worried about the footprint. I was worried about like, I don't want to make a piece that's going to be more of a problem to house than actually show off and stuff, right? So I ended up narrowing a lot of the base to come in. Right. And I still left the pieces to have enough real estate to like feel standalone-ish. You can like appreciate them for where they're at, but as a whole, they don't touch or come too close to one another. I made sure in every angle we don't actually obstruct any of her silhouette, so we'll always have a prime silhouette from this angle, a prime silhouette from here, and you'll still be able to see that, and it's not going to be broken by having any of the goblins and stuff. Because for me, I like seeing my pieces in every angle that they're supposed to be displayed, without having to be worried about it's good, but not in this angle. But this is great, but maybe not in this one. I should probably no. See, because of that, I always try to be. I don't know. Like I'm extra scrutinous of my own work because of that. Like I want to be sure that I'm not asking those questions about this piece, at any given time, because I think we've all had pieces where we get them and like, this is the right angle because over here it's something about this angle, something about this pose doesn't feel right. Like, I try to like remove that variable as much as possible. Does it make the development and creative process take longer? Yeah. Yeah.
Well, look, you're so into detail. I noticed that you put a little bit of like functional elastic near her boot. Yeah. Near her boot. Yeah. Is that like the upper part of her boot, the inside of her boot? That's a functional. Yep. There it is. There it is.
I mean, hello. I mean, if we know how the boot works and stuff, it's got to expand and it's got to have some elasticity there.
It's got the elasticity.
Good eye, Jeffrey. Good eye.
Yeah. I knew we were going to connect. I just knew it.
So you're saying you guys are making a statue together now, right? That's what you're saying.
Hey, you never know. You never know. This, you know what? And this will be the genesis. This will be where it all started. You guys were here for it. You have front row seats.
RJ Collectibles. There we go. I got you. I'm in sales. So I get this stuff. So I get down the spot.
Jeffrey's like, well, why can't it be JR Collectibles? Why gotta be RG?
Hey.
Painters, it starts with the sculpt and then it goes to the painter. So that's why it's RJ. So
okay, that makes sense. Yeah, you got it. It looks great, Roger. From what we're seeing right now, we can't wait to see the full reveal product. I know a lot of people were asking me, hey, can we see this? Can we see that? I said, hey, the only way you're going to see this stuff if you come on ASV Collectibles on the live streams, and Roger's here. He'll show you what he's going to show you. Other than that, you out of luck. You're just going to have to wait. So I really appreciate you taking the time and showing us this particular piece.
Thank you for squaring away some time for me to do some show and tell.
Absolutely. Even Jeffrey, if you have something, I know you're working on something. If you want to bring it up, we still got another 32 minutes to go, so we got some time to burn. I do want to promote a project or market one that a friend of mine, a sculptor, everybody knows him, and we'll go to that towards the end. We'll talk a little bit more, but if you have something, you're more than welcome to show us, Jeffrey, kind of what you're doing, what work you got.
I'll tell you what I'm working on. I can't show it yet because I don't want to show it yet. I actually I'm working on a statue. It's two of the same statue, but I'm doing two completely different paint applications for them.
Okay.
So they're the exact same statue, but I love this particular statue. It's actually from a cover variant, Del Oro cover variant, and I loved it the first time I saw it, and so I couldn't wait to have it as a statue. So I had a friend of mine print it up, and I have two of them to work with, and so I'm almost done with it. I'm working on a lot of skin tones right now, a lot of bruising. I've been getting really into that. Sometimes you have to put your work away, right? Step away. Any artist, this is good advice. Put it down, walk away, come back with fresh eyes, because you'll see something totally different. Or you'll say, oh, thank God I didn't do this because I would have fucked it up. But Yeah, that's basically what I'm doing. I'm giving myself a little bit of time to step away from it, but it's fun, man. It's always a learning process. Look, when I got into this, before I even started spray painting, I didn't even know if I could. I actually looked at videos, YouTube videos of a lot of the guys that are, you know, super popular and have YouTube channels, and picked up some, you know, tools for my toolbox, and then expanded, and I feel perfected certain things that they were doing. And so right now I'm just enjoying that. And every once in a while I have to step away from doing client statues and do something for me.
Yeah,
because then it stops feeling like work, work, work. And it's like, okay, I'm feeding myself at this point, you know?
So when you, and not to say that you wouldn't do this professionally with the client's piece, but when you do your own piece, are you just as meticulous as Roger is with the sculpting, where it just doesn't feel like it ends, like it's not right enough for you?
Well, with your own personal piece,
I know with the
so.
client, I'm sorry, I know with the clients, they're like, oh, you got this time limit, right? And with yourself, you don't have it. So that's what I'm saying. Not to say that you're not going to perfect the client's piece, but if he's got like 3 months and you're like, okay, well, I'm going to do what I can in 3 months. But with your particular pieces, like Roger, you've been on what, 10 months on that, maybe a little bit longer on your piece?
Probably longer. And to your point, that's the discipline, right? It's like knowing when to be able to step away and put a stake in and say, this is done. When it's your own personal project, it's really easy to just let that slip because I don't have a deadline. But part of me still creates milestones for myself. That's why I'll tell you like a month and a half. I'll still try to set some milestones or some parameters there to tell myself when it has to be done. For one, it's healthy for me because when it comes to my clients, it still keeps me kind of like, it still keeps me in the practice of maintaining deadlines and maintaining that like pipeline and stuff, right? That said, though, because this piece is a personal project, I have allowed myself to expand on areas where I probably didn't need to. I've blown out the scope of what it was supposed to be initially a lot more. I've had to cut parts as well too. A lot of it also has to do with the fact that it's my own personal concept, right? So I'm not working off something, so it's really easy for me to kind of like just shoot from the hip and be like, you know what? I think I should change this, and then I do it. But I also, in the long run, push out the scope a little bit more.
Is that easier for you to do that too, Jeffrey? Where it's like that paint's not right, I'm just gonna redo the whole thing.
Well, this particular project I'm working on, it's funny you said that because I was sure that I had the right concept on how I was going to paint this thing, and I painted for 2 weeks just trying to figure out and recreate like lightning in a bottle. I had done something similar before, and I'm like, it just doesn't work. There's certain pieces that the way it's structured, the textures on it, it doesn't work as well as other things, right? I did something, a Mountain Devil Wolverine, and it had all these textures, multiple different terrains. And I did a black and white study because I'd never done that before. I'm like, I'm just going to make it black and white for the client. And then it was kind of reminiscent of like a Sin City. It's all black and white. And then the blood is red, right? And there's splatter and stuff like that. And it's just black and white with red. And I thought maybe I could recreate it, but it didn't work. Now, if it was for a client, I would have taken a day to figure it out, you know, because I don't want to run the clock. But for me, I sat and played with it for like a week or two, trying to figure out all different combinations, and it just didn't work. I just scrapped it and did something else. And I'm happy that I did something else. So it's another thing. Don't get married to only one thing, because you put yourself in a hole, you back yourself in the corner, and then there's, you know, those parameters don't work for you as well. You know, a little bit more freedom, but for clients, it's a problem. I do think when I was working on the project earlier, I thought, well, I wouldn't work this long on this for a client. I need to start, you know, pulling back, you know, to get a little bit more disciplined. I actually thought about that today. I was like, well, I'm putting a little too much into this.
So it's kind of like, because I'm not a professional in those terms, it seems like it's kind of like a painter or a sculptor's block, right? Like a writer has a block and he's got to pull it away, his story, and just kind of decompress and then come back later with it. So that's kind of what it seems like in terms of both of your skill sets is, yeah, you're kind of doing these things and weeks go by. You're like, okay, I got to just put it away and then just do something else. And I've known other sculptors that would be real tired of doing one project and jump to another one and then come back to that project later when they decompress in terms of the frustration or anxiety or whatever they're going through in terms of that particular art they're doing, right? So it's interesting to see that you guys kind of have the same approach, but different, artistical.
Yeah.
You're doing paint, you're doing sculpting and paint. So it's just like it's interesting that the mindset's the same for an artist. So I think that's pretty cool. So, and speaking of that, so I wanted to bring up this is a good friend of ours. He's Brazilian. I don't know if he's watching, Rafael. He sculpted this Logan, and I wanted to bring it up. Let me go back here. I'm going to put these two, and then I'll pop it up. This guy right here. Kind of wanted you guys' opinion on this. Marco, what do you think of this particular piece? This is the one with the hat, which I really like, and then this is without the hat.
It reminds me of the trailer that they just had for the Wolverine game they're coming out with. That first scene in the bar, obviously, this is literally what this is right here. So awesome. It looks great. He looks bulky, which I like because I like Wolverine because he's a short king.
Yeah. Stocky guy, yeah.
King, bro. So make him fucking stocky, dude. I like that. Yeah, man, it looks great. It's a different statue from what we get from normal Wolverine statues as well. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
So
I agree with you. I do like the base with the kind of the snow, the steps. It kind of gives you that, he's drinking a beer. It doesn't say if he's on the bar or not. I only grabbed two of the pictures. So you got some broken beer bottles. He's got a cigar in his hand. His forearms are freaking massive. Dude, I really do love this piece in terms of, like you said, I like the Deadpool movie. Oh, look, it's Canon Wolverine. He's like 5'3" and this little guy. But in terms with this particular piece, it's very, very stocky. It kind of this kind of version of Logan. I said Wolverine, but it's Logan, same person. Kind of reminds me of there's a comic series where when Magneto pulls his adamantium out, and now he's not getting adamantium poison. He starts turning more of a beast. He's getting a little brawlier. His jawline changes, and he's just more animal instinct. And all of his healing factors are through the roof because he's not getting the adamantium poisoning. This is the kind of vibe I'm getting from this particular piece. I think it's an absolutely great sculpt. Lane, what do you think of this piece?
I really like some of the comic book overtone. I love the big hairy arms.
The big hairy arms?
The big hairy arms. It's definitely like kind of a choice with it. Because he's very bulky. You don't often see Logan kind of done in that very almost Hulk Hogan-esque arms there. But I do actually like that artistic style, just him sitting down. I like the streak. It's a nice different look than you normally get, like naked in Weapon X version that we we just had that one come up, or him in one of his brown or Tiger Stripe suits kind of thing. So I think that definitely will help this one stand out a little bit. Whether you have some other custom, I mean, there's 5,000. There's almost as many Wolverines as there are Batmans.
Yeah.
In
he's
the world.
The Marvel version of Batman for sure.
Yeah. So there are always going to be a lot of him. But this, I think this decision and choice to go for this kind of look, where it's definitely not going to appeal to everybody, but because it's a custom, you're going to make not a certain number of them and everything.
Right.
I think that you can find that's a project you can find enough people which would be willing to support it probably. Have that a very unique Logan that could mix in well, especially if they have some more, quote, traditional costume Logans.
Yeah, to me, what I would have liked to seen with this, and I don't think there was in the full array of pictures. There was like 25 pictures, but they were just like rotating front and back, and I was like, I'll just post these two because there was nothing much except the back of it and whatever. But I would have liked to seen an old man Logan. I think that would have looked cool. Portrait. I'm a big fan of the old man Logan. Actually, my SS, I got an old man Logan custom portrait that I had someone make for me. And I use that portrait instead of the one that came with the Sideshow. So I thought that would have been a cool touch, and potentially maybe the artist Raphael wants to sculpt an Old Man Logan as an extra bonus or something. Roger, what do you think? Anything you would change? You like what you see there? Maybe.
I'm a huge fan of Rafael Barrel's work. I'm real familiar with his stuff. So
Yeah.
when you brought up the Logan, I was like, I knew exactly what you're talking about because I saw him start posting teasers and stuff here and there. This is like his fifth, it's either fourth or fifth Wolverine.
Yeah.
And every single one of them, he's brought something different, or he's captured a different time period or a different genre Wolverine. He actually already did an Old Man Logan, and it's him on horseback, and it's pretty rad. I'm a huge fan of this, and also another thing too. If you look at all the Wolverines, I can tell if you look at his work enough, you're familiar with it. You can see it's his work. There's like a certain level of fidelity and detail in his work and tertiary details he captures that I think a lot of artists maybe kind of glaze over a bit or don't put in their work. He does a good job of like adding textile and texturing to clothing that I find awesome. He's able to capture a thick enough and big enough level of detail for stitching on like the denim and on the plaid of the shirt that it's actually texture. It's not like just paintwork. That it's actually there. When you get up close, you can see the stitching, the thicker stitching on it, and he makes it big enough. Obviously, it's bigger than it would be for an actual shirt, but it's big enough that it prints well. It would look good enough if you printed it. So those type of like attention to detail, I'm a huge fan of, because he's not thinking just about making a nice piece from a nice angle. He's thinking about how this is going to look good up close when you get right up in it and get really into the weeds of details. I think there's even some scarring on the knuckles too, for where the blades come out to on his other hand, which is awesome as well. He captures a good enough. So you have a realistic look, but it's still stylized.
Mm-hmm.
Still have stylized proportions to the face and chin and proportions that don't break immersion for like, look at this as a comic book piece, but it still has like, I don't know. I always like to think of it as a slider, right? Like you have like your complete stylized art over here, which is more anime or something like that, or a comic book. Right, and you got hyper realistic here. He brings his work about like right here. Like he doesn't go full hyper realistic, but at the same time, it's realistic enough that it looks like he's adding a spin or his spin of a realistic version coming up off the comic book. You know what I mean? Coming out of the pages. If you guys get a chance, check out his work on. If you could put a link, I guess, in his Instagram, and take a look at his other Wolverines. His Batman's awesome. He's done some stuff. He's done some good stuff for Invincible. Yeah, love his. He did.
I'll add. I think he's got an artist station too. I'll just add it to the description below. I kind of should have done that already, and I didn't. But I do have. Well, Jeffrey, what do you think in terms? So give me your opinion on what you think about the sculpt. The render application here. And also my question for you is, if you were to paint this, how well could you paint the snow on there where it just doesn't look flat? Like I've seen some snow effect where there's texture to it, and I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. But I'm curious of your opinion based off what I mentioned.
Okay, I'll get to the snow after I take a look at this guy. Yeah, I noticed that a lot of people like Wolverine bulky these days. I'm not one of them, but this works because he's kind of sitting in a compact way. So he would seem bulky if he kind of like, was sitting up. It wouldn't look as he's kind of caving in a little bit. So that's nice. His forearms are freaking huge. Yeah. And I did notice, I was looking at the portrait. It's one of the things that makes me really like it with the hat. I would display him with the cowboy hat always.
Yeah, me too. Let me go back to the hat there.
This feels right.
Right there.
And it takes away. His chin's a little bit square for me, but again, that's all preference. I love the fact that he's kind of sitting outside of like maybe the back of the bar or something. He's sitting on the stoop. I don't know where the hell he is, but he's having a good time, I could say. Yeah, I love the fact that there's a lot of texture in there. It feels like Logan, It feels like Logan. that's important when you look at a sculpt or a painting or whatever, that you get that, the essence comes through. And this is totally Logan, I mean, it's straight off of the trailer for the video game too, right? I mean, that's bringing them to life. So it doesn't matter to me too much about the height, because I mean, he started off short and he got to at least 5'7", 5'8" in the comic books. And now he's 6 feet tall in the movie. So what are you going to do? The guy's growing and shrinking at the same time. How would I handle the snow? Yeah, I mean, there's snow effects that you can use. If you just use straight paint on that, I wouldn't, I like to get some textures in there. If it's done right, it could be done. If it's icy, you can do it without snow effects, because I've done that before, where you make something really glossy and get the ice effect.
Yes.
But if it's loose snow, yeah, a little snow effect doesn't hurt. But you also have to have paint application integrated with it. Otherwise, it just looks like you threw a bunch of snow on stuff, which is one of my big pet peeves whenever somebody says they repainted something and it is put snow effect and blood. And I'm just like, no! Everybody's going, I love it. You're the best ever. And I'm sitting at home going, don't say anything. Don't say anything. Don't say anything.
Yeah.
Well, hey, now you can pay $500 to Prime One for on their statues extra for a little bit of blood or snow effect. So, I mean,
prerequisite for a Logan, he's got to have a cigar. Check. Yeah. So I like it. I like the piece. I like the piece because I actually asked you about it, right?
Yeah, we talked a little bit about it. Yes.
Yeah, I would love to get my hands on that and paint a kit to see what I could do with it.
So piggyback what you just said right now, for those that are watching, I did post this piece in several areas, just kind of marketing it. I was asked to. I am no shape or form involved in any commissioning with this piece or anything, but I was asked to just kind of throw it out there, see what people think. There is an ES list for people that want to get on. I think it's filling up here pretty quick. So if you want to get on the ES list, you can just shoot me a message on ASV Collectibles or on Facebook. Just shoot it over, and then I'll direct you to the right people. It's an awesome piece. I don't think the ES is going to be very large. I think it's going to be a very small run. Just because Raphael wants it on people's shelves, and he wants one for himself, and we'll send Jeffrey one. I'll just tell him, hey, just send Jeffrey one, let him paint it. Let's see this master paint, and maybe I can even do an unboxing and review on it if it ever happens. So for those that are interested, just let me know, hit me up. We really like to see this be made.
And that Logan on horse that you mentioned, Roger, that is spectacular. I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, I love. Like I said, I'm a big fan of his work, and he's. Every single time he's depicted Wolverine in like a different era. He has a Vietnam one that's money. Like I absolutely love that piece too.
That's a real good piece, actually.
Yeah, a lot of. You know what? He's really good at adding character to a pose. Like it doesn't have to be dynamic for him to capture some storytelling. With his work.
So he's working with Adam quite a bit, then, right?
Adam. Not that I know. I don't. Let's see. I'm gonna pop up. I'm just gonna pop up the artist here. His name. Let's just screen share here. So I just kind of. I always like to bring up artists as yourself. Roger, you're an artist and you do stuff. Raphael right here also is an artist. So I'm just gonna. Let me just scroll a little bit here real quick. Just gonna show some of his work. This is the one you guys are talking about. Let's see, this one right here. There it is. Oh, yeah. So that's the one you're talking about. That's the the Vietnam one. This is a very good, very nice piece.
I like the portrait with him wearing. Yeah, him with the helmet's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So we'll scroll through there. So he's not a rookie by all means. He does very, very great work. Just looking at some of the portraits and just everything about the anatomy of this Logan. Let me just kind of rotate it. So let me know if I'm going too fast. Just want you guys to kind of see his work, see the detail, look at all, like the rip in the shirt, the leather, the water bottle, the button with the stick in it, the grenade.
It's those types of details, especially on the cloth we all know that cloth isn't that thick in stitching, right? It just isn't. Otherwise, all of our cloth would look like burlap, right? But for the sake of how it prints, that's a really good detail and like a good understanding of the fidelity of what's going to come out and get captured in the print.
Yeah, so as you can see, like this Logan here, the jaw's not as square as the other Logan, right? And I think that's what you're kind of talking about, Roger, in terms of each Wolverine is kind of a different variation. So they're not all going to look the same.
But they still capture the facial features that we're all familiar with of like Wolverine, right? Like there's a certain bridge of the nose, there's a certain level of cheekbone structure and chin, brow that we're familiar with what Wolverine is, and he kind of always has that infused in all of his versions, which is really cool. It's like you can make 5 different Wolverines and we could still pick out the face, even if you didn't have the button chops, and be like, that's Wolverine.
Yeah. So see the difference with this one that we were talking about earlier, right? Different angles, the steps being all chewed up. So he put a lot of work and detail. The hair on the forearms with the veins, the tear on his shirts, just where that's kind of like the back of the sculpt. And I know I didn't have like the colored picture, but just there we go.
Real quick, also, that's how you sculpt hair on a forearm, by the way. Like,
oh yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, there's ways you can paint it, but there's ways of sculpting it that it looks like it's coming up off the skin and it feels natural, as opposed to sometimes it's a difference between him looking like a werewolf and him looking like too smooth, right? There's a fine line. And they did a good job. He did a really good job of capturing that.
Yeah, there's the one on the horse you guys were mentioning earlier. So it seemed like a more Logan with a clean cut. Maybe Old Man Logan, I'm not sure. This one's not colored. The creases in the shirt underneath, the textures and the rip on the jacket. Like he's an amazing sculptor. He's very, very good, very detailed. Got even right there. I don't know if you guys saw that, but the mud on the boots.
Yeah, it's good detail.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Red Dead Redemption Logan right there.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Maybe we'll ask him to do a Red Dead Redemption. Just take Logan off the horse and put,
Do not give me an Arthur Red Dead Redemption.
Well, maybe because they got starting. Maybe we'll be asking him to because they've got upcoming Sabretooth miniseries coming. It's supposed to be a flashback one.
Right.
It's going to be set in like the 1920s. So it's going to be when Sabretooth like fighting gangs and stuff like that and part of that thing. So maybe we'll be asking him for like a gangster.
It is funny though that the movies have made Sabretooth an absolute joke. In the comics, he's an absolute
I know.
The one part that I hated in Deadpool Wolverine.
Yeah, they made him so weak in that movie, man. It was ridiculous. I thought we were going to see a good battle.
Every movie.
That's all it was worth. Yeah.
We have yet to see our version of Wolverine that we want. I mean, that's how I see it. I have yet to see a cinematic version. I'm sorry, Sabretooth. We have yet to see a cinematic Sabretooth. I would
say Hugh Jackman's
I was like, whoa, wait. No, we have yet to see, I think, our cinematic version of Sabretooth that I'm like happy
Sabretooth's either been a bumbling idiot or like kind of like a corny cornball, I guess you could say at best, so
it's been challenging for them to give us like a real ruthless, I think if they would have done I think Wolverine Origins would have been way better if they just stuck to the Wolverine Origins, and Sabretooth was a lot more, gruesome like he is in the comics. In the comics, he's like celebrating Wolverine's birthday by putting dead bodies and saying happy birthday, with their body parts.
Every birthday
he does that. That's like his thing. He's like, man, I can't wait to murder someone he loves. Oh my God, I can't wait.
Yeah, well,
it doesn't matter who it is. He's just like, hey, on your birthday, it's gonna be a fucking hellhole for you. Like, that's fucking Sabretooth, not this fucking.
I have relatives like that.
well, hey, Liev Schreiber was okay as Sabretooth, but part of the problem is
he still didn't have the look.
Yeah, well, how did he go from that? How did he go from that to looking like Tyler Mane?
But Tyler Mane, how did he go?
They were literally part of the same timeline. And I know, and they had never said how did he go from that? And
I blame Fox, man. I blame Fox.
They don't know.
I blame Fox. Like they were doing bullshit with the multiverse before there ever was a multiverse, as far as I'm concerned.
Well,
like
Fox was always confused. Like they were 100% always confused. They didn't know where they're going. Obviously, you could see what
they never thought about, which is what Marvel did for years, like figure thing.
Yeah,
it's like they never thought they were going to make a sequel. Like,
well, like they literally they literally went from one movie to the next next without any real idea. Like even of, hey, we're going to do like, let's say they did the reboot-ish type thing with even Days of Future Past, where like, hey, we're going to do we're building off First Class, but we're going to do a trilogy where we're going to do X stories and we're going to have the same people cast and kind of build upon stuff.
You know what's crazy?
Here's a question. So they made we got X-Men, we got Wolverine, X-Men Origins, right? We got Sabretooth in there. Do you think they forgot that they even did Sabretooth in the previous movie?
I think that's fair. But what I was about to say is this: they never had the thought, I guess, maybe to ever like maybe cross over Fantastic Four like universe with the X-Men at all, ever. Like that was never in the plans. I feel like for them, it was stupid. No. That's the only two properties they had basically was X-Men and Fantastic Four. But that includes.
And hey, we got a possible X-Men, or not X-Men, but we got a possible Star Wars trilogy by the writer. Fantastic.
Simon Kinberg. Yeah, I saw that. I was like, wait, you guys hired the guy that killed the X-Men franchise twice.
Well, it is funny.
Disney Star Wars too. Like they're
and he worked on Rebels, so that's probably one of the reasons they hired him.
That's not even that good either. It's all right at best.
I know, but I'm saying Kinberg is one of these guys. He's done some pretty decent stuff and done some pretty awful stuff.
Yeah,
and
after X-Men
awful stuff has been spectacular. For how much
after X-Men Dark Phoenix, he should have had no runway after that. They should have never. I can't imagine him still having a gig after that.
Horrible movie.
Yeah.
So Marcos, just to close out a little bit, I know we talked about it earlier when I was doing, taking the things out of the box and stuff like that. Let's real quick recap on Prime One Studios Showcase. Jeffrey, I don't know if you ended up watching that. I know Marcos got some stuff he wants to talk about, so it's all good. I loved almost everything about it. Some of the anime pieces I wouldn't really consider picking up, but still they look great. But let's see what you got, man. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Actually, I would love to see, because when we did the whole Prime One thing at the beginning, Jeffrey never got to speak. So
I know, I feel bad. I ended up taking up too much time. Yeah,
he never got to speak. So Jeffrey, please explain what you liked and not liked about.
Honestly, I need to go through it again. I was skimming through it last night. It was like 2 a.m, and I kind of like fast forwarded to see if they did any Lord of the Rings or anything like that. And I saw the Alien 3 piece. Not a very popular movie, however, Xenomorphs, more Xenomorphs, please. Everybody loves Xenomorphs. And I think what they did with the sculpt was pretty cool. It's different, he's kind of like hanging off in a weird angle. I kind of like what they did with it. Would I get it? No, because I don't collect those. It's a rabbit hole I don't want to go down right now. I'm already opening up the Lord of the Rings. I just started collecting that.
Nice.
GG.
Oh man. I have this huge Uman piece out there, which I love. And I saw the Prime One, the 1/3, and that really caught my eye. I wanted to get the 1/4 Prime One, and I thought that was too big. And then I saw the 1/3. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like that looks amazing. That's what I was talking about. That's the Alien piece. Yeah. There's more, and then there's the Prometheus one. Is that another one?
From Romulus.
Romulus. That's what I meant. Romulus.
That is
look how big that thing is.
1/4 compared to on the right, and then 1/3 on the left.
Wow.
Nuts.
Wow.
And I think the next couple more pictures, I'll show you the Romulus one. Let's see.
Yeah, look at that. Yeah.
The Scorch they didn't fully reveal. Look how tall that thing is next to that guy.
Yeah.
That guy's not short.
Where's the Romulus?
I like that. Actually, the bonus they showed, you went past that they're doing the Queen facehugger.
Yeah.
It's going to be like a proximity piece for the dog alien.
Oh, right. I thought that was cool. Also, this Prey, great looking piece.
Do you like the pose? How do you feel about the pose?
looks very posy. You know,
That's what I got too out of it.
just killed something.
The only thing I would say about the pose is it's completely different from all the other pieces. Completely different.
Yeah.
It's not.
I don't think it's bad.
totally.
Well,
It's-
he's
so-
ready. He's ready to stab somebody in the face. Is what he's
So,
doing.
like I said, I actually do like it. I'm just saying, if you're one of those people that really likes like continuity in every piece, this one actually does differ from all the other ones.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's everything I'll say. But I think it looks great. I love the silicone hair they have with the, his little dreadlocks, whatever.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I saw that the way they were playing with it, and it was nice and fluid. Love that, man.
That's
Kinda
neat.
yeah, that's pretty cool. I
It's
think
a real, yeah. Go ahead.
I think it's a great piece though.
Yeah.
I love the glistening effect, obviously on the skin. Like all the predators, they all have that effect, and it looks great. The only issue I have is not a big issue, it's a nitpick. Is this? I think the paint job on the portrait right here does not look as good as the full body or anything like that. That's the only thing. But overall, the piece looks amazing. So
Only a face a mother would love. That's for sure.
I honestly hate this face. I
let's say like I didn't like it in the movie either, Lane. So,
yeah,
like,
I didn't like it in the movie. I'm just saying I hate that.
How did we get from this to how the
it
traditional
does
predator
look like
looks?
a hillbilly Alabama, like
Supposed to be like,
predator. Like
this
This is a West Virginian predator. Here's what we're
Yeah,
saying.
predator for sure.
inbreeding. Lots of inbreeding. No.
Look at his hair. He has like less hair than all the other ones.
He wasn't injecting like diabetes into himself or something like the assassin predator was. I hate that facial design. I think it's so boring looking. Like I find it that facial stuff.
Yeah.
I don't like the predator facial design here.
Whoa.
Did you like it more with the skull on it, the helmet?
Oh, with the skull, it's
yeah.
fine. The helmet.
And
is fine.
I'm one of the weird ones that always say if I collected this line, I would have all mask on. So that's just me too.
Yeah.
No, I would too. Yeah.
But people love the non-mask ones. I'm like, why?
The big vagina faces.
The only the only one that I like without a mask is the first predator, the first one.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with that one. All the other ones after that.
My problem is my favorite predators are the 4 predators from the Versus movies. Like those are my 4 favorite predators: the Youngbloods and Wolf. Wolf is by far my favorite.
Love Wolf.
Yeah, Wolf's cool.
Awful movie. But
Oh yeah, you can't see half of it, which is
No,
why
I
you
know.
need a good statue of him so you can see what he actually looks like.
Like, do you think they just ran out of budget for like just lighting? And they only had was one guy with a flashlight.
That was done on purpose by the directors.
So bad.
That was their decision to do that.
Like one guy with a flashlight the whole movie.
Another Dutch would be good too. The one I wanted to talk about from this, though, we kind of passed over. You guys were talking about that 1/3 Paul. That Paul to me was fine, but Fade, Ratha, that one I thought blew the Paul away. Like that head sculpt, like I thought that was the guy.
Yes, it did.
In his makeup.
But Lane, I'm sorry that for me, this head sculpt is the best head sculpt I've seen on any piece of my life.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying, but I think that Fade is even
looks
better.
good.
I think the
Fade looks great.
is even better. Like
that. I'm sorry to say, as of right now, because Lane, that was more of a artist, like 3D, this and that. At least we see this as a prototype. This piece right here has the best portrait likeness I've ever seen in my life. 100%.
With the lighting, I thought it was a picture. I thought it was a production picture when I first saw when I was swiping through pictures. If anybody ever like commissioned me to do his hair, like I don't know, man. There's a lot of Red Bull. There's a lot of coffee I'd have to have just to do that level of fidelity of curly hair. Like I would love to do the challenge, but the fact that someone did it that well makes me feel like I would never get near it just because it's really good. It's an excellent depiction of like I think
this is a nitpick. His little arm in the hair like pose with the portrait. I wish it was like him like screaming. That's the only issue I have. That's like
yeah.
That scene
long live the fighters.
Yeah,
exactly. That's the only thing. That's the super nitpick. I would go with this look for sure. The armor like around his chest. look right there. That's what look I'll go with regardless. But
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, but if
Where's
you're
the
gonna go,
fade piece?
if you're
Do
gonna
they have
go
the
with,
fade?
if you're gonna go with
Sorry, do they have
this,
fade up here too?
let me look it up. Let me try to find it.
I
Man, it
like
looks
they're
so
gonna
good.
have the little. I like they're gonna have the mouse though as like
Yeah.
proximity, probably both.
That's a good touch.
Where it's something you can totally not have if you don't want
Yeah.
it. Like and not like they kept the really cool head sculpt out of it or something like that.
Is that the difference between the exclusive is the mouse?
Probably, I would assume so.
Lane, how do you spell what's his name?
FEYD, I think.
FEYD. That's how you spelled. Yeah. I
Yeah.
just had it, yeah.
FE.
So no one on Facebook has it, and it was a very quick little scene in the.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect. I expect him like the next one or something where it'll probably fully be revealed. But he was the one I like. One of my favorite skulls, probably.
So I think we go down the line from the showcase, and I know it was an hour such long. There was a lot of stuff that was shown. Marcos, pick one that is your top favorite from the show.
Ooh, that's tough. Top one. That just
This question will go for everybody. I just want to see, because we're over the 2-hour mark, but I just wanted to kind of finalize. Let me know which is your top favorite from this last showcase, because the other two showcases wasn't really anything that I cared for. But this last one,
yeah, it was bad. Top one. Get back with me in 20 seconds, please. Give me back in 20 seconds.
Lane.
Someone else. You
Let's
spot real quick. So.
No, give me 15 seconds.
Oh shit! Everybody's got. Okay, I'll go first.
I gotta narrow it down to one.
Yeah, you gotta go down to one. That's what makes it challenging. Now, let me go first. I think out of all of them, they were all super great. I'm a big fan of most of the stuff, but I think for me was Kratos. I really love all the detail they did on that Kratos. It is an epic Kratos, and that's one of those things where like, man, I hope the PO don't come soon because I got too much stuff. You know, but I've really been wanting a good Kratos. There are some really epic custom Kratoses out there, but that one really, really surprised me. So that would be my top pick. They didn't show any SNK stuff. They just kind of showed SNK, and I'm a big King of Fighter fan.
Caliber 6, which came out of nowhere. Like what?
Yeah. So kind of randoms like that. But Kratos was mine. Roger, what was yours?
I don't know. Mr. Freeze looked pretty. Like I'm really curious to see more about that one. Like I think that looks really good. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with that. Otherwise, I'm gonna go down. I'm gonna start talking too much. So,
Jeffrey.
Well, considering I didn't see the whole thing, I did stop on God of War. I thought that was phenomenal. I mean, as soon as I saw something that I liked, I kind of froze on that. And so God of War was really up there for me.
Yep. Kratos.
Sauron, I thought looked fantastic.
I'll share it. It's a great piece. Great piece, man.
Right. I saw a couple of the Alex Ross pieces that they were doing. Oh wow, look at this. Yeah, this is
phenomenal, bro.
epic. It's very epic, man.
This is look at he's standing on. Jesus Christ.
It's like the whole game in one piece.
Yes.
Right.
And it's the embodiment of the game. Yeah.
At this piece, they're making this like a super exclusive line, meaning more money, obviously. So it looks great, but it will be probably expensive. So people just be ready for that. If you're wanting in 1/3, it's 1/3 as well. So
it's 1/3 also.
Wow.
That must be like 40 inches plus high because the base alone, if it's 1/3,
I'll say
it's the size of his body.
I'll say probably 42. What would you say,
42 inches?
Jeff?
Yeah, I mean Kratos is like what in the 6 foot area, so he'd be about 28 to 30 inches tall for around there. So yeah, with that base,
at least 38, right? At least
you're adding another 15, 16, so more. Easily. Wow. That's impressive, man.
And that's why I say that's my number one. Once I saw, I was like, "Holy crap, man!" I don't know. And not to say that someone can't make a better one, because things are progressing, like I mentioned earlier, in terms of paint and sculpt and all that stuff, and things are getting better and better. But right now, from what I'm seeing, that's going to be the piece. Thankfully, it'll only take 4 to 5 years before it actually comes out, so we got some time to save some money. Just the way it is.
There's a nice custom one out right now. You know, there's a nice custom one. There's a couple
Sure.
of them. This one,
no, there's a couple of them, and there's one coming soon. It's like Kratos 2.0. I'm like, okay, I got to see what this looks like. You know, quarter scale. This is 1/3. I've been tempted to just collect 1/3 movies, but it's very. It seems like 1/3 is being niche. But Jeffrey, what is going to be the number one for you in terms of the showcase? I know you didn't see all of it, but you know you mentioned Lord of the Rings, but
for me it'll be Sauron. But if I was into getting Kratos, I would get that in a heartbeat. Yeah. You know.
Well, see, Marcos had to take a shot. Okay, Marcos, now that you had your shot, let us know what you're thinking.
I just had to double check if there's something else that wasn't there, but the Paul Atreides. So either I'm getting it for myself, or I'm getting it for my friend who's a big, Dune fan for his like wedding present. So regardless, I'm getting it for somebody. So either me or for somebody else. I think that was, like I said, is the greatest likeness I've ever seen in a piece. 100%. Easily.
Right.
I think what's going to happen is you're going to buy it for your friend, and it's not going to happen. You're going to end up hanging on to it.
Of course he is. That's the excuse. I'm buying it for my friend.
Yeah.
I'll tell my
I
wife
buy
that.
it for my friend, and then guess what? Like, he doesn't want it. Like, okay, I'll just take it back. It's one of those things.
You know, he really doesn't deserve it when you're looking at it at home. He really doesn't deserve this shit.
No. Like I said, it'll be his wedding present. His wife would not be happy about it, but guess what? Happy.
You're saving him from lots of early marital problems.
Exactly.
You're
that for sure. That piece, 100%, the greatest likeness. I'm not even joking. I said it the other night. That's probably the greatest likeness I've ever seen in my life for a piece. That shit's on any J&D piece ever. Now, I'm a big J&D hater. Who knows? That piece right there easily shits on any J&D piece. It's not even close.
Ooh.
Like those J&D pieces are not even fucking close to that likeness. So
Fighting words, Marcos.
Really?
I'm happy to say, only a sculpted piece looks like so much. It's so much better than anything else. That's why I'm so happy right now, because like a sculpted
look,
piece
Marcos, I'm not gonna hate what you're saying right now, because I feel the same way about the Jazzic Michelle Pfeiffer, and I've spoke to the artist that did that sculpt work. By far better than J&D's. I'll agree with you on that, especially the damage. God, I can't wait to get those pieces in. I did order the clean version, battle version. But Lane, what's your number one pick of the showcase?
Oh, Dog Alien XL.
There we go.
Dog Alien.
There's one other one that might top it, but it wasn't shown painted or anything like that, so I don't consider that finished.
So So Dog Alien was a great one. I actually do love everything about that Dog Alien, but I don't collect. I don't like Jeffrey said. I don't go in that rabbit hole. But I did see a post, and I think I shared on ASV Collectibles, Thor from the God of War game. It wasn't painted either, and I think I posted, and I was like, "Holy crap, man! They're gonna put Thor on there. If that Thor is huge, he's way taller than Kratos, so you can only imagine the scaling. They better make that base super short, because it's gonna be an epic one. So if I were to pick up Kratos, I'd have to pick up that Thor as well, because that's gonna be just amazing.
I'm looking at the Thor right now. It's got a pretty big base too. I'm curious how big that's gonna be.
Yeah. So that's another one I looked at. They didn't showcase it, but I did see it posted somewhere. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, we're already at the almost 2 hours and 13-minute mark. We went a little bit over, and it tends to happen because Statue Chat, unboxing, shenanigans. We got two great artist professionals here in the panel. I'd like to thank Legend Lane, Marcos, my admin. Thank you very much. Roger, Master Sculptor, and Jeffrey. Thank you for tuning in here with us, giving us your opinion on your paint and your professionalism based off of painting. I do have other unboxings to do. Hopefully I can piggyback every Saturday around the same time. It seems to work out fairly well with the scheduling. I'd like to thank everybody that's in the chat right now that stayed with us all this way. Aiden. So was that?
That's like we had like 16 to 18 people in here.
Yeah, it was great. It was really, really great. So I'd like to thank everybody. Cypher, Aiden, Gabriel. We had Michael Reyes on here. Michael's my buddy. He's about 45 minutes from me. Let's see, DB Madness, Stanley. Who else was here on the chat? I think just mainly those guys. I know we had, like you said, about 16, 17 people show up. So I really appreciate everybody. Alan Kiefer, we can't forget Alan Kiefer, Juan Ortega, all you guys. So really appreciate you guys joining here on ASV Collectibles. I had a blast. Looks like we all had a blast here tonight. Hopefully.
Thanks for letting me hang out, guys. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Back here on the panel. I hope you guys like Storm.
Love it.
If you guys love the content, please join ASV Collectibles, subscribe, like, and also don't forget the link below. We got Jeffrey's Artist Station. We got Roger's Artist Station. Click there. Look at their work. If you're in the East Coast, and I believe, Jeffrey, you're in the East Coast, and you need a kit painted, ship it over his way. You're not going to regret
People
it.
send their kits from Iran. So I don't care where the hell you are. Just send it to me.
Yeah. Just look at his Artist Station. Check out his work. Hopefully the next time he's on our panel, he'll have something that he just recently painted that he can share, just so we can kind of get a little more in depth on how he transitioned paint from just your flat base up to the epic piece he normally does. So again, check out the links below. Please support everybody here. And yeah, thank you again for tuning into ASV Collectibles, and we'll see you next time. Peace.
Enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys.
Cheers, guys. Take care.